Welcome back to the Nerdrotic podcast 4-year anniversary special. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, coming to you from nerdrotic.com. And I am with both my co-hosts tonight. Down in LA, Jon Reed, and in San Diego, Dennis Bithoulkas. Gentlemen, what is up?
¿Qué pasa?
This is actually one of my New Year's resolutions, guys. I've blocked out Friday, and I just want to spend time with my two best friends talking about the stuff I love on Friday nights from now on. So this is I'm really excited to join you guys tonight to talk about the last 4 years of podcasting.
Yeah, and we're going to also look ahead, and this is not formal, ladies and gentlemen. We're just here, a bunch of people chatting on a Friday night because we don't go out anymore because it's the 21st century.
We're old.
And we are nerdy old men. That's what we are. So, you could comment away. We'll probably get some more commenters in here, and we read your comments throughout the podcast, corrections, calling us idiot, whatever you want to do. It's totally cool. But we usually start out with news, and this is Dennis's arena. So, Dennis.
Okay. So, starting off, as we always start off our podcasts, we start off with a death.
Oh,
yes. So, John P. Stewart, who is better known as Worf's son Alexander on Star Trek Next Generation, passed away from unknown causes at the age of 33.
Mini Worf. Wow, 33. That's just a huge bummer.
Child actor, unknown causes in his 30s. I'll give you one guess.
Well, no, the thing is, he did have a punk rock band in Portland, but he also was running a vegan restaurant in Portland as well, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And there were no drugs involved at all.
Right. Portland.
No one. Sorry. I don't mean to even laugh about that because it's not funny. I'm actually in the program and I have to laugh because otherwise I would cry because I experience this stuff quite a bit. A lot of young people dying. I'm assuming he could have had a heart attack. So I just want to say that he could have died of choking on some vegan food or something. I don't know. I'm sorry. He is dead. He was also in Little Giants, right?
Oh,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just sad. It's just sad, but
he was actually on Grace Under Fire the longest. I guess that was when he was like 12.
I remember that show. I don't think I ever watched it, but
I just read
I saw an advertisement once.
Yeah. I definitely saw it while I was turning the channels manually. Well. That's why we like start out with the death because we like to end on a good note, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
R.I.P. Mini Worf.
Yes.
So season 11 of X-Files, which we're currently in, is going to be Gillian Anderson's last, is what she said.
But not David Duchovny. Is he like going to stay on? Or I think this is like the last season.
Well, yeah, Chris Carter said basically there is no reason for the X-Files to go on if Scully is gone.
Can you walk me through since can you walk me through the post original run X-Files? Like, to me, this seemed to come out like, oh, it's a new X-Files, and now she's like, hey, peace, I'm out. Like, is that what happened here, or was it a longer run after the original X-Files went off the air that she's been involved with to where she's like, okay, I'm tired of doing this again?
She's been doing a lot of stage work. Is what she's been doing. She's only recently returned to TV with both this X-Files reboot.
But happened. Why come back if you're just going to announce you're leaving right away?
Because there was this big sound called beep, beep, beep of the dump truck full of money.
The money truck.
Yeah. And dumped in her driveway.
It just seems weird to have a premiere of the X-Files this week and then have her announce that she's leaving within that 7-day period.
That's really odd.
Yeah, this isn't the only thing that she said she's not coming back to. She's on American Gods as media.
Yep.
That she's not going to be returning to season 2 of American Gods due to Fuller and Green leaving.
I think we're going to see Chenoweth leave. I think that
Chenoweth is gone for sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling that season 2 of American Gods is going to be a different season of TV than season 1. And I'm not the biggest Fuller fan, right? Like, we did a whole podcast in the lead up to American Gods where I was like, I don't know. I don't really like Brian Fuller. But after the comprehensive watching of that first season, I'm really sad about this. Like, of all the stuff I've seen Brian Fuller do, like I really loved American Gods and that cast they put together and the way that they paced out the show, and I just thought it was really brilliant. And this makes me really sad. It makes me sad that she's leaving both, and I don't know. It's what do you think? I mean, you guys are the X-Files guys more than me, so.
I think she finished up the season of X-Files, and it's probably not going to be very good.
Good.
That was a very inconsistent, silly episode, and Melissa and I, Melissa sat down and watched half the first season yesterday, and I watched it, and yeah, it's really different. It's not like it was trying to be the X-Files again. It's really different. It's way too fast paced. The X-Files was always a slow burn. So I think she's kind of saw that. I don't know. It could turn out to be good, but maybe it was a piece of crap. And then with American Gods, media changes faces. So I think you can actually recast it without having a glitch, because media is a male character as much as a female. They use icons, so they can play with that. I think it might have had something to do with Fuller, but I think it more has stuff to do with Lionsgate being probably a little cheap this year. Well, cheap, $10 million an episode is not cheap, by the way.
No.
So, and they wanted more. I think they're going to miss Michael Green more than Brian Fuller, because I think he's the more visually stylized guy, and he's frankly the better writer, in my opinion. And Fuller rage quits everything. So if they get the right guy, it could still be good. I mean,
agreed.
Well, I hate to use Walking Dead as a good example, but in the early years of Walking Dead, when it was brilliant, it had a rough second season because they lost Darabont, but then it picked up again. So, things can pick up. I don't know.
Which is why you have being stuck on the farm as a euphemism for a TV show that's floundering.
Exactly. That's right up there with Jumping the Shark. So,
yep. So we also have Bright, the show, the movie that was on Netflix, has a sequel. It's been greenlit, but this time without Max Landis. Max Landis is not going to be writing that. David Ayer is going to be writing it and directing it, since he directed the first one. And Will Smith and Joel Edgerton are actually going to be returning.
Well. I think this is going to be good. I'm pretty sure they rewrote a lot of Max Landis's script anyway. A director will do that with notes and everything. And you and I enjoyed it. I don't know if John wasn't really into Bright.
So here's the thing. My take on Bright was like, I was enjoying it up until like there were 3 scenes in a row that basically was just all about like orcish hate crimes. And I was like liking the like world of the show, but the like words that everyone was saying were really getting on my nerves. So I'm going to give it another chance, because I kind of stopped watching after the first 20 minutes after like, again, those 3 scenes early on that really like kind of annoyed me. And I'm going to give it another shot, because I did think that the world it was showing was interesting. And if they explore that world more, I'm all for it. It seems cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was a popcorn movie is really what it was.
Yeah.
And I know it's supposed to be a commentary, on racial diversity and all that kind of stuff too. But quite honestly, it's David Ayer.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get that deep in his movies.
It's so weird, because David Ayer, like the stylized stuff that he does is actually like really cool on the surface. And he just needs to find somebody who can give him a little bit more, and maybe Bright is that, but I feel like he just needs somebody to give him a little bit below the hood that I can enjoy, because like Suicide Squad, like the visuals were cool, right? But I just didn't like, I just didn't like what was happening in the movie, and I feel like if they could figure that out, his style plus like a good story and dialogue would be ideal, I think, right now.
Hey, I think Suicide Squad, the first 15 minutes should be chopped out and used as a template to make comic book movies from here on out. The first 15 minutes are so freaking good.
Yeah.
And then, it just goes off the rails after that. But the introductions and the graphics and everything about that, which word on the street is they went out and got some music video company to shoot.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That actually worked for me. I thought that was great.
Well, also, if you look at Fury, he did Fury, the tank movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, you look at that movie and like, where did this director come from? Because it's not the same director that you see.
Shia LaBeouf was in that, right? And he was good in it. So David Ayer deserves some credit.
Yeah,
for doing something Spielberg couldn't do, and get a good performance out of Shia LaBeouf. So I can't say his name. It's just
I know. I say Shia LaBeouf. But,
LaBeouf.
LaBeouf.
But I loved
So-
Bright. I actually watched Bright 3 times. I
wow.
sat down and watched it with
Nice.
Logan. It was he loved it, man. And it's
Yeah,
all
like I said, it's a really good popcorn movie. You could definitely have it on and do other stuff as you're watching it, or sit down if you just want something that's kind of mindless. To LaBeouf, yes,
Yeah.
Albion says LaBeouf, yes.
LaBeouf. Cool.
So Game of Thrones season 8
oh, yeah.
is going to return in 2019, sometime in 2019. We just don't know when.
And we're going to get
HBO
your
just announced
comments in a second, guys. We're not
Yeah.
ignoring you. Wow. Okay, so I think this is. We knew this was coming, guys, but this is a terrible decision.
Yeah.
And I think it's been. I think the cutting down of episodes and taking more time. And I know the excuses, and I hear everything, but it sounds to me like HBO had to kind of capitulate to the creators because they were kind of burnt out and were going to bail or something, maybe.
Yep.
And they just said they compromised, but this isn't what HBO wanted to do, because before they announced this 7-episode, 6-episode BS, I'll find the article where Game of Thrones could go 10 seasons.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, it was everywhere. And then
and
all of a
season
sudden
8's the last season. Yeah.
it doesn't. And it sounds to me like D&D had a falling out with George R. R. Martin because he didn't finish the 5th book, so they couldn't adapt any more material, so they had to rely on their own writing skills, which they all of a sudden realized they don't have time for the show anymore. I've got to go. My mom's calling. That's exactly what happened. What if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck? This is horrible, and we're getting a year delay so they can do prettier dragon scenes. I don't need prettier dragon scenes. What I need is good resolution to what was up until midway through last season. Up until last season was pretty good storytelling. I mean, it started going off the chain a little bit in season 6, but season 6 was still great. I love season 6.
I think what they should do with season 8 is they should find a farm someplace and then just stay on the farm for all that season 8.
Or they should kill somebody and put them under a dumpster and then bring them back to life. And this show deserved 2 more 10-episode seasons. And that was the only way you were they left way too much stuff open. And then they closed all these plot loops like really quick. And like Arya's was one of the most disappointing resolutions and fan service of all time. And it's
Arya Wolverine.
If you read the books, and that's not where her story is going. Like she's not going to like that's nobody's going to end up where the books are going to be so damn different. And it's too bad because they're going to supposedly they know the ending. Dan and Dave know the ending of the book, how it ends. So how they're going to get there, I don't know. I'm super disappointed because I was so into this show. I was like, as hardcore as a Star Wars fan is into Star Wars now, I was into this show, and I got dragged out last year. Quite frankly, it was really disappointing.
So my thing is, when I hear this with anything else, like a video game or whatever, I'm usually of the opinion of like, take your time, make it right, an extra 4 months, whatever, like it's already taking a year. I don't really care. In this case, it seems like there's just disaster going on behind the scenes, and that's what's stalling this thing out, which makes me think like, dude, just end it already. Like you're already at the end, just finish it up, do it up and get out. And that's what I wish they would do at this point. It's just like tie up all the loose ends and get out and wait for the books to come out and then remake it in 20 years, right? Like that's where it should be at.
Yeah.
And speaking of delays, we also found out that Fargo season 4 is also going to be delayed until 2019 on FX.
Do any of us watch Fargo? Do you watch Fargo?
Gary does.
I've seen the first season and I loved it. And it's probably something we'll cover when it comes out in 2019.
Yeah.
I think that delay might have something to do with Legion because
it's tied to Legion. Yeah. And that's the reason why I mentioned it is because Noah Hawley is the one who does Legion and Fargo.
Because the network only has time for one good show a week.
Hey,
is that what this is?
Maybe they called him for American Gods. Remember, we suggested that too. Like he would be perfect for American Gods, and maybe he got called. that could be it. I love the guy. Legion is the most original superhero television show on TV. Not the best. It's close to the best, but it's the most original. It's really, really good.
Hey, Arturo, Rick and Morty, from what I understand, is not coming back until 2019 as well, if that. They're saying it might be 2 years.
There has been a lot of stuff being delayed. And
what do you think this is? What do you guys think all this is?
Trends.
Yeah.
They're adjusting their trend scouting. They cut, like we've talked about before. They read the trend scouting was horrible in Hollywood over the last couple of years. And they went hard. I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to go. They went into a direction that the country taste-wise was not going for anymore, or didn't go for at all, depending on who you talk to. They read it way wrong, so they're adjusting to go kind of towards the middle a little bit, where they should always sit, in my opinion.
It should sit in the middle.
Sit in the middle. And
politically things swing wildly, right? Like if socially things change in a year, which they might, like what, you're going to adjust your trends and delay all the shows another year? Like that's just, I agree with you. That's probably what it is. And it is ridiculous.
And they've had there's been a lot of rewriting. Pretty much every show we cover has been delayed, and that doesn't happen
except for Star Trek Discovery, which they decided to bring back early.
For
some weird reason.
Can't polish a turd.
Which is what they should be doing with Game of Thrones. Just get it over with. It's you're at the end. Like, just finish it. Just get it done and get it out. Like, that's it.
The good news about, and I'm going to hit the comments right after this, but the good news about that is, and I'm just reading, I'm speculating here, that I think HBO is okay with delaying to 2019 because I think they wanted to get word on when Westworld was going to come out. So I think it was like, hey, we might have 2 shows being delayed till 2019. Let's not announce this until we know for sure.
And we'll have Watchmen, right?
Watchmen's gonna be like
Watchmen.
2 years.
Yeah, Watchmen's not gonna be able to touch 220.
So they have nothing this year. But I think Westworld will come out this year now. I think this all but confirms it. If they probably compromise to where, hey, we can't have both of our big shows being delayed. They have stockholders to answer to. They're part of a bigger corporation.
This says Gary Wall reminds him of a cover of an old Where's Waldo book.
Right?
That's so good.
You found him. He's right here.
Yeah, the big one in front.
Funny story. I was with my comedian friend Bert DeVitri at Comic-Con in 2013, and there was a kid dressed up as Waldo, and Bert had a video camera and he was trolling everybody, and he ran up to that kid, picked him up, and ran away going, "I found you!" And the kid was scared to death. And it was a kid. It was like a 15-year-old kid. His mom was like, "Oh!" And Bert's running around holding this kid like this, going, "I found you. I'll never give you up." The mom was not happy, but I almost peed. I was laughing so hard. So let's get some comments before it gets too out of control.
Viking Bitch asks, if the rumors are true and we get another season of Venture Brothers this year, will you recap it?
Yes. As a matter of fact, Dennis and I are probably going to do the whole series at some point in the next 3 or 4 months, just because I want to.
I've got them all on DVD.
I don't know if any. I've got them all digitally somehow. Just because we want to. It's going to be kind of like The Tick. We don't care if anybody watches or not. Well, we at least we know you will, so that's good. We got a lot of happy anniversaries. Thank you so much. Who we got? We got Albion 65 is in here. What's up? My friend Matt is in here. Arturo is in here. What was Arturo's greeting again? I forgot. He started everything. He's either talking about Star Trek.
I'm here for the Star Trek. Star Trek Discovery. What do you think of it? It was always something about Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah. What's up, Arturo? Then we
Probably Disney fucking it up. That's what it was. He actually did it again. I just scrolled up to it.
Cassandra Rosa, is that how you say that? She's a Viking bitch is in here, of course. And David Latham. What's up, David? And Sean Van Steen. What's up, buddy? That's a Comic Outpost customer. What's going on?
Happy birthday, man.
Is it his birthday? Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Right on.
Celebrate with us.
They just announced a new Watchmen show. Will be set in present day. What?
I think that's smart, actually. I think that's smart. I think it's smart because we got the movie, and the biggest problems they had are adapting around like Cold War themes in the story. And I think that if they adapt it to some sort of present day analog, it'll be a smart. I think that's a smart decision as long as they execute it well. Again, they could execute it shitty and it'll look like a bad decision.
But that's the whole story. I mean, if you're actually thinking you're going to use Watchmen, or are they going to use the new Watchmen that's going on right now with the DC thing with the fake Rorschach?
I don't think so.
My guess is that they'll use like a surveillance state type thing.
God, my brain is hurting right now. Okay, the Watchmen is okay. It's good because of Rorschach, but it's good because of the story. It's actually crappy Charlton characters that were just Alan Moore put, just changed them a little bit, a very little bit, just because he had to for rights issues. And it's about the story. That's going to be funny. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Hey,
is it going to be the Watchmen versus Trump? I bet you that's what it's going to be. God damn it.
Your friend Matt McCoy is here.
Hey, Matt. What's up, Matt? Matt and I work together.
Yo.
Hi, Matt.
And Ghost World also says, did someone say Star Trek Discovery?
Oh, we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Trust me.
Yeah, Sunday, too.
Yeah, Sunday.
So speaking of bad decisions, under Disney, Fox is now going to be called New Fox.
Oh, like New Coke. That'll last.
Exactly.
I bet you.
You got my joke. Somebody got me.
Yay! $10 million to a focus group that worked on that one for at least 2 weeks. Right. Picture this. New Fox.
They should have done like 21st Century Fox, or they should have done like a play on that instead of just New Fox. New Fox sounds stupid.
I think they should have just called it Fox.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Why do you need to change it? Everybody's gonna know. That's silly. Okay, that's Disney for you. That's Disney. Yeah, they're gonna control everything. This is a horrible idea. These are words that will not come out of my mouth often. I hope the government steps in and does something. That might be the only time I ever say that my entire life.
I don't know.
Please do something. Because I don't think this is a good idea. And once we get our X-Men movies and all that stuff, and then when you see homogenized entertainment in 10 years because everything's run by one company or two, I'll say I told you so. So when we're covering like Disney XD because that's all we can cover.
Arturo was right though. Disney is going to fuck everything up.
That's right. That's how he started out. That was it. They are. Oh my God, I'm going to become a Warner Brothers fan. I'm already becoming a DC Comics fan.
We'll get to Warner Brothers in a minute. So Grant Morrison has said that he has planned out happy for the next 3 seasons, is what he said. At least 3 seasons.
That's good to hear. I don't know if they are going to do a second season. And Derek doesn't know yet either. And and even if he told me, I probably wouldn't be allowed to say anything. So I don't know. The show's doing very well. Excuse me, but that's good to hear because it looks planned. It really does. It's really well written. It's kind of a surprise, like how good that show is.
Yeah, it's really a happy coincidence. I mean, I watched Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance just the other day.
Hell yeah!
Oh, wow, that's just a bad movie.
I mean, that I love.
It is a bad movie, and it's just hard to believe that one half of that directing team is making happy and making it so well.
Or maybe it's the good half.
It might be the good half. I mean, yeah, it could be.
Hey, the daytime Ghost Rider effects are really good.
Yeah, the daytime Ghost Rider effects are good, but the flame is blue. Which is just weird.
That was later. That was later. He turns blue.
Oh, that's right.
He turns into an angel. Yeah, which is methane. So he's blue flame.
He's a little gassy. Well, he is older now, so pull daddy's finger.
I do not watch Into the Badlands.
I tried watching the first couple episodes, and I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. It just.
I'll give it a shot.
It sounds like a show maybe I'll like if you guys don't like it.
No, it's got a lot of martial arts and blood. You won't like it, John.
I have not seen it, so I cannot say whether I like it or not. I heard good things actually.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. I don't know why.
I'll give it a shot. What the hell?
In our DC news, horror movie executive from New Line Cinema, Walter Hamada, is now going to take the helm of the Warner Brothers superhero movies.
Huh. That's an interesting choice.
He is responsible for It,
Oh.
and Annabelle, the Annabelle series, and a couple other, of these horror movie series.
These networks are so short-sighted. They get like one big hit and they're like, this is the guy. We're gonna give everything.
That's the magic man. Okay, I'm going on his
trends.
I'm going on his IMDb. He's been doing stuff since 2002, but not regularly since 2007. I'm going to read off what he's done. Whisper, Friday the 13th, Final Destination, Nightmare on Elm Street. These are all remakes. He was an executive producer. Final Destination 5, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, The Conjuring, 47 Ronin, Into the Storm, Annabelle, The Gallows, Conjuring 2, Lights Out, Within, Wolves at the Door, Annabelle Creation, and It. And you decide this guy is going to run DC
Superman,
films.
Batman, Wonder Woman.
I'm looking for Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Batmite, anything, nothing.
No.
Yeah, John, you said it best. It's these idiot freaking producers who are like, give me the hot guy right now. Who's the it guy? Give me the it guy. We'll take a horror guy to make our movies less dark, because that was the biggest criticism of our movie, was making them less dark. So we'll get the guy who did It really well. Now, I haven't seen It. I actually plan to see It tonight, after this, or tomorrow morning. I
wish that these studios would mine good TV creators and showrunners more. Like when you see like the Russo brothers and like Whedon transition into like making these movies, right? Like, obviously, and JJ Abrams from different like eras, obviously, but like those are typically successful because they've proven something over a long period of time and a long body of work. This guy's just a bunch of horror movies, like as good as they can be. I just think it's such a weird direction to go. I don't know.
Or if they actually just pick someone that knows comic books,
that would be nice as well. Maybe this guy does. I mean, we don't know. Maybe this guy really loves comic books and he just got pigeonholed into horror movies. But he hasn't proven that in any way. Whatever.
Yeah.
I suck for not seeing It. I really want to see It. It's one of my favorite Stephen King books. I like him up to a certain point. Pretty much It was like the last book I liked by him.
Arturo asks if we have any faith in the Wachowski sisters, which I don't anymore, because he's like, visually they're always pretty cool. They just have a really hard time like telling a succinct story ever since The Matrix. And I would love to have a lot of these guys would make like amazing like visual directors, like storyboard artists and shit, but like I just don't need them crafting narratives.
Well, let's be real about the Wachowskis. They've got a lot of personal issues going on, and ever since was it Andy transitioned, and he was doing that during the Matrix sequels, which had a lot to do with it. And that's cool that that's that person's decision. I don't want to get the wrong pronoun here. Whatever. You're also given millions of dollars and are expected to deliver this project, and they screwed up. They screwed up. The Matrix was a great movie, but they have not done squat since. Their director of photography did V for Vendetta, which I like very much. So if you get that guy, whoever that guy was.
Also, Isaiah asks if we watched Sense8, and I'll say that yes, I watched the first. I think I watched
we all did.
Yeah, we all did.
Yep.
And thematically, I did not like the show, but I loved the way the storytelling worked in the show. So if they had been dealing with different themes, I would have liked it a lot more. But it was really, really well executed.
I can't believe I didn't like it, because I love Straczynski, who wrote it, and I am a fan of The Matrix, even the second one. But it's the story lost me. The visuals were awesome. It looked very pretty. But
same with me. It was just I love Straczynski. Babylon 5, huge fan of that, and also Thor, his Thor run in the comics. Yep. And I actually was at Comic-Con when he was talking to everyone about Sense8, and he was selling it up, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Watch that first episode. I'm like, nope, not a fan.
Yeah.
But I can see how people like it. I mean, it's not like it's
Yes.
bad. It's just that it wasn't for me.
Yeah,
I'll
it
say
wasn't
that.
for me either.
I even like, okay, I'm going to kill for this, some of his Spider-Man stuff. He brought, remember, he brought Mary Jane back. Okay.
Mhm.
And yes, he got rid of her, but he was kind of forced to. And his Back in Black story, which I talked about last podcast, is absolutely one of my favorite Spider-Man stories ever, because that's when he breaks into the prison and beats the shit out of the Kingpin and reminds him that he can do it whenever the hell he wants. And that was like because Spider-Man doesn't get all badass that often, but so when it does happen, it's cool and they make it an event, and that's good freaking comic writing right there.
You actually bring it up, and it reminded me that whole comic when Mary Jane comes back and he's meeting her at the airport.
Yeah,
and they're discussing their relationship while he's in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, see that
it's one of the best scenes.
They don't write like that anymore, and that wasn't that long ago. Okay, somebody mentioned I saw Black Mirror in the comments.
Black Mirror is awesome.
It's really good. I'm going to go over some of the. I promised to do this earlier, but probably Sunday we'll go over some of the other episodes I watched because they're really, really good.
You guys are covering it now, right?
Yeah, I think we kind of are. I think because I'm totally in. After the USS Callister was the one that hooked me in, but it was not even the best episode. Not even close. It was good, but there's other ones that are much better. And
I've been busy packing and painting and stuff like that, so I haven't gotten any.
Black Mirror is an anthology series where each episode is its own anthology, essentially.
Yeah, it's like Twilight Zone. Cool. Yeah, except a lot darker and without a moral.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just pure punishment, kind of. It's like, here, Satan, get creative with your punishments. Okay. And it's really, you want to talk about well done, pretty show. And it's I think there's some is it BBC that's involved in it, or ITV, or one of the British companies.
Over to our Marvel news. Gifted has been renewed for season 2 at Fox.
Yes, I thought it would. It's been an inconsistent show, right? But the highs have been high enough that I'm excited to see more. And the lows, I think, might get polished out a little bit, although I think they're kind of baked in at this point. So I'm just going to always look at Gifted as like a fun, inconsistent, but like on average, I would say it's better than most of the other like young adult team superhero-y shows. I would say it's like just above average. So I'm really happy that it got a second season. I'm happy we're all going to be covering it when it comes back and when it finishes out this year. And go Cuckoos. You've really resurrected the show in the last few episodes for me.
Yeah, as long as they start doing a lot more action scenes and move the story along. And maybe even kill the Strucker, well, at least one of the Strucker parents. I think I'll be good.
I'm coming around with Dennis on this one. I hate to say it, but man.
No, he's bad. No, he's definitely
really good to sacrifice the parents. It would be a heroic way to go, and it would make me way more into the show. If this was a 22 episode show, it would be the show I would go to when there's like CW now, when it's around sweeps or there's an event, I'll dive in or they bring Constantine back. Yeah. I'll dive in and watch. Otherwise, I know that I won't miss much because there'll be a lot of sitting in corridors talking about our feelings or what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
No, I think you're right. I think
Services is coming after us this time. How are we going to get out of it?
This time it's for real.
In this building that they're never going to find. We're going to be on the run, stationary. It's
the show needs to graduate from like a resistance revolution story to like a real X-Men show at some point. But as far as like now is concerned, I would love to see Stephen Moyer off the show and have like Amy Acker's character Kate get some powers or something. Like that's what I would like to see.
I think that's where it's going right now, because they're doing the split within the mutants, and a real X-Men is the X-Men fighting the evil mutants fighting the evil humans. Okay, and that's
what I would do.
Biggest complaint about the show has been that there's no good humans. I want all the humans to die in this one. I mean, because they all suck pretty much.
Detroit Rebel says, do you think any X-Men will show up in season 2? And I would argue that we actually already have real X-Men with the Cuckoos and Thunderbird and Blink and Polaris in there. But as far as like the movie X-Men, like an Iceman or something, I don't think we're going to get that.
Emma Frost. I think we'll get Emma Frost.
Maybe. Yeah, but yeah, maybe. Sure. Something like that. But yeah, I don't see Cyclops or Wolverine showing up anymore.
Oh no. But my dumb logic last week for Emma Frost was because she's been on TV before, just because she was on Generation X.
Yeah,
so
Sure.
it's
Why don't
really
they just
dumb
do a
logic.
Generation X? I know we've said this a bazillion times, but why don't they just make a Generation X show again? Jesus Christ. Just do it.
I know.
and bring Matt Frewer back as the bad guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah, I'm okay with that.
And speaking of good X-Men shows, Bryan Singer had his name removed as executive producer on season 2 of Legion
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy about that.
due to all the sexual misconduct allegations.
Yeah, he's and Ghost World, I'll get to your comment in a second.
And
Yes,
Isaiah, too.
bye. These are rumors that have been around like way before this Me Too stuff going on. And I think something big is coming out. Like he's been slowly backing out of stuff. So he might be gone whenever it does come out. Or Fox and Disney are like, yeah, you're the one holding up the sale, dude. You got to go. Which, I mean, crazier things have happened. I guess you talked about him getting the executive producer name ripped off of The Gifted might be a little more difficult. If he signs off on it, it can be done. It can.
It's something to do with the contract. I know they're saying that since he directed the first episode of The Gifted, he actually kind of earned the executive producer credit.
He directed the first episode of Legion too.
No, they said he because they were talking to Noah Hawley. He actually just came in and I thought
he got a credit.
No, he didn't get a credit for it. It was actually Noah Hawley. Yeah. Cool. He said he only talked to the guy once, and that was it. Like at the beginning, he came on the set. And...
yeah, you could totally tell he has zero involvement in that show.
Yeah.
Because
it's great.
Singer's thing is his visual style is no visual style, and Legion is specifically about visual style, right? It's about style and mood and tone and stuff, and Singer's always been about, hey, this is real world shit, right? And like you can tell where that separation is and where his influence is on Gifted and does not exist on Legion.
Yeah, because Singer's stuff is kind of boring and bland and has no action. He has no action scenes except for
he doesn't know how to visually. Yeah.
Except for the Nightcrawler scene in X2.
I don't think that was him. I think that was.
I find it hard to believe that it's him because it seems so unlike him, but
creative.
It was dope. Yeah.
Well, no, there's been like in this, even the Superman Returns, the plane crash scene was amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. So I don't know if that was him and maybe he just blows his wad on those action scenes. Those are two of the better action scenes in superhero movies, in my opinion. I love that Nightcrawler scene.
Me too.
What a great way to start a movie.
Mark asks, how big was Singer's creative influence on Legion? Not at all, because Noah Hawley, the guy who runs Legion, said he only talked to the guy once. That was it. That's all he's got.
Isaiah asks, what's everyone's least favorite comic book adaptation on television at the moment? Mine is definitely Inhumans, like hands down. I think it's terrible.
Uh,
I mean, we could say besides Inhumans. Oh.
I want to say Shield. But I know Shield, Agents of Shield. I know a lot of people like it right now. But yeah, I'd have to go with Inhumans but Shield, Agents of Shield is really
Both
close
of those
behind.
are bad, yeah. For me,
I like it, but
also like there's also like a personal taste thing. Like I'd rather like popcorn waste my time watch an episode of Shield than I would like put on like some of those episodes of Legion that were like really crazy that I didn't love. So you guys love Legion and I get why everyone loves Legion, and I'll always argue that it's like an amazingly done TV show and it's like I can see all of the great things, but I just have a hard time connecting to it. And so I would probably put it up there for me as just something that I would not put on TV for myself.
You never finished the season out, right?
No, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Because I podcasted, I think, about the second to last episode with you guys. But yeah, I finished it out, and I did. It definitely got better. Don't get me wrong. Like I enjoyed the second half, like way more than I enjoyed the first half. It's just tough for me when I'm like, hey, I want to put on a superhero show to like go into the mind of Legion, of the character Legion. It's just a lot. It's very overwhelming sometimes.
Oh, it's bad, man. I think it's so layered and so deep.
Oh yeah,
music is great, and the story is really deep. It's
Aubrey Plaza.
And Aubrey Plaza.
My God, where the hell did that come from?
And dude, one of the best Bowie covers ever Lisa Hannigan, "Oh You Pretty Things" at the end of the 5th episode or 6th. I can't remember, man. Seriously, one of the best Bowie covers ever.
And probably the most stylistic shot, I guess you could say, that I've ever seen on TV.
For superhero, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Name one.
Shots. It's the most stylized superhero TV show ever. Like I would say, just ridiculous.
But just that scene of her, singing to the Bowie and dancing to it, and just the choreography and everything. It's just it's so overwhelmingly good that I was shocked that that ever made it to TV. To tell you the truth.
It's funny because I feel the same way about Happy, but like for me, and Happy's like on paper one of those shows that I also wouldn't really enjoy, but like it's so much fun. Like I really I can't say how much fun I've had with Happy. Like it's been such a surprise to me how much I've enjoyed it. So
you can't take any of the gore seriously, so it actually makes it, because they make it cartoonish enough where it's like, okay, it's no big deal. Especially when you start out the show with the guy blowing his own head off and like his blood is spraying out to disco lights.
Like a disco party.
I'm into this in a strange way. So Ghost World asks, do you guys think any of the more geeky superhero shows, or even like the likes of the Orville or American Gods or Runaways, etc., are going to be up for any TV awards like the Golden Globes? No, because they don't want ratings. I think some of those shows actually, well, for one, Logan should be up for and win Best Picture. That's just me. And Patrick Stewart should win Best Supporting Actor in everything, but they won't. And I think American Gods could definitely be up for awards.
Legion could be up for awards.
Legion,
they should be, right? They're not. I think the answer is probably no. But they should, especially those two. American Gods and Legion, I think, are some of the best produced entertainment out there. Like they're specific, they're stylized, they're tonally consistent. The performances are amazing. The music, like you've been talking about, is on point. They ask you to think about things in an interesting way. They challenge you, right, as an audience. And I think that's what we look for in awards types TV. But I just feel like nobody takes it seriously, even though that is there. They look at other aspects of it as like, oh, it's just superpowers, it's just a comic book show. And it's just like they write it off.
Look at it this way. Tatiana Maslany, who played Orphan Black in Orphan Black, she played how many different characters? Probably like about 20 different characters.
Brilliant,
distinct personality, and only got one freaking Emmy nomination and award. One.
But Will and Grace is up for best comedy, guys. So
every time. And Rami Malek won, and Mr. Robot won some awards. So if Mr. Robot can win awards, which is a great show, Legion is the superhero Mr. Robot.
Yes, it is.
It is. And is it Dave Stevens, I forgot the guy who plays Legion. He was in Beauty and the Beast. He's great. He is so good in that show, and everybody is. There's no bad acting in that show. So I think it should win. Who knows?
Westworld would be a really good one.
Westworld will be a show that sweeps them one year. That'll be one of the. It's the new Game of Thrones.
Once Game of Thrones is over.
Once I think it is Game of Thrones at this point. I mean, just like seeing all the theory videos.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I'm doing a video because I'm rewatching it again and again, and it's probably got the most perfect pilot. Like if you got rid of the rest of the season and just did the first episode and put Rod Serling at the beginning and end, it would be a perfect Twilight Zone. It's a perfect show. It is so freaking good. I love every minute of it.
Albion 65 says that the Nightcrawler scene in X-Men 2 is directed by the second unit director Brian Smurse.
I believe it. Yep.
I remember reading that too. That's why I remember that the second unit director had done that.
And Bryan Singer had tons of help on Usual Suspects.
He did.
Yeah. So it was actually, I forgot his co-writer, the guy who did Year of the Gun.
Not Mike, the guy who did like a trick or treat or any of that. He wasn't with him at that point.
No, this was with he's never worked with him
again. Interesting. That's telling, I think.
It can't.
Mark says the most scary show to him was Legion, and that actually the Shadow King is one of the most truly terrifying villains that they've had on TV in a while.
Honestly, I mean, as far as pure villain, the best pure X-Men villain. Because Magneto's like kind of an villain, but no, a creepy villain that isn't gone, thank God. So
yeah. And Ghost World says, "Ha, funny you mentioned Logan. I just picked it up on Blu-ray last night. Going to watch it again later." I'm sorry, man. I can't. I watched it the first time. I can't go through it again. It was a good movie, great movie. I can only watch it the one time.
Oh, so you have one of those too. Okay.
Sorry, Christopher McQuarrie wrote Usual Suspects. That guy helped a lot, and I don't think he worked with Bryan Singer much anymore. And he did Way of the Gun, not Year of the Gun. Sorry.
I'm having a hard time with a lot of things these days, especially movies where like the first half of the movie and the second half of the movie are like two different movies. Like I always talk about how Rogue One, like the second half of Rogue One is the best Star Wars stuff I've seen in a long time. And the first half of Rogue One is like really mediocre to me.
That's like change the ending.
Yeah. So like Logan is kind of
directed by somebody else.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. And Logan is kind of the same thing where I really loved getting introduced to Logan, but the more the story went on, the more I was like, oh, they've ruined the promise of this movie. Not ruined, but like I saw so many bigger things when the first like quarter of the movie had gone through, and it kind of got derailed for me along the way. So I love it. I think it is one of the best superhero movies in a long time, or the best comic book. It's very tonally interesting, kind of like Dark Knight did for us back in the day. That's the second half of the movie. I don't know what it was. I thought it was going to go different directions, and I didn't love it.
Arturo, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Arturo asked, Split for any Oscars? The movie Split. I don't think so. I mean, it was a good movie. It was a surprise sequel for Unbreakable, but I don't think it was good enough to go Oscar.
You don't think McAvoy deserves at least a nod?
No, I mean, he was good in it, but it was a little too. Yeah, I don't think so. No, I mean it was good, but not Oscar worthy.
Yeah, I think that one's going to go down as kind of a classic, like Clockwork Orange. I do. I think that one's going to it's really freaking good. And I've been really hard on M. Night for a long time, but I thought McAvoy. Yeah, I don't think it'll get nominated, but think of it like Clockwork Orange. Think of it like that.
Okay.
I think it'll be remembered for a long time, and one of those things that probably should have been nominated. Excuse me, because what makes a good movie? Timelessness. When it's loved, how long ago. It's like, anybody remember Annie Hall? Annie Hall fans out there? Big Annie Hall fans? Yeah.
We didn't get rid of her because
I know
we hated
Annie Hall. Yeah, because it was clearly a better movie than Star Wars and should have won Best Picture.
Of course.
Chariots of Fire. Big Chariots of Fire fans out there? Really like that slow motion white guys running to Vangelis music? Because that was way better than Raiders of the Lost Ark, which it beat for Best Picture. Yeah. Shakespeare in Love, big fans out there, because that was clearly better than Saving Private Ryan. It's a much better movie, very memorable movie.
I like Shakespeare in Love.
The Academy is full of fucking shit. Okay, and Shakespeare in Love is not a bad movie. It's just not better than Saving fucking Private Ryan, which is Spielberg's last good movie.
Until Ready Player One comes out, I'm really excited for it. I don't think it's going to be one of his best movies, but I
1941, Spielberg's best movie.
That is Dennis right there for you. I actually like that movie. I do.
I like that movie.
I saw it as a kid. I loved it as a kid. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And everybody's saying it was bad. I'm like, it was bad? Really? Because it looked cool.
In a post 9/11 world, it makes a lot of sense, to tell you the truth. It shows you exactly what the paranoia was.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people didn't like it because of the message it was telling was like, like, how dare you say people were paranoid during the time of World War II? And it's like, they were. In California, they were. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all based.
LA
well, they based it on the Battle of Los Angeles, which was
exactly
a UFO, by the way.
Yeah.
Albion says a beautiful mind beat Fellowship of the Ring, which is also a huge
travesty. God damn. Thank you. That was, you know what? I was trying to remember it. And I couldn't because I blocked it out of my goddamn mind. Yeah. All the Lord of the Rings movies should have won. I know they gave it to Return of the King at the end, which was actually the weakest one of the three, but they're great. Okay. They're my favorite trilogy. But all three of those movies should have won, period.
Viking bitch asked if we watch Vikings on History Channel and what we think. I have not seen it. It's something I'd be interested in checking out.
I've watched the first season. Actually, I really liked it, and I just haven't gotten into the rest of it because I'm watching a lot of stuff, and you just haven't gotten back to it.
It's weird how we pick stuff, Dennis, because like we will miss stuff we like.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. And the funny thing is, I've got a good story. The very first season of Ash versus Evil Dead at Comic-Con, I went in early because I knew that the room was going to fill up. And right before the panel before was the Viking panel, and all the guys from the Viking panel that were there to see it had the big horns, the Viking horns. They're all sitting in the back, and they would, and just start blowing it. And it was all throughout the Viking panel.
That's so
And
cool.
then the Ash versus Evil Dead panel too.
Oh, that's bad.
That's funny.
So cool.
And Bruce Campbell got a kick out of it. Actually, he thought it was pretty damn funny.
Oh my God, he was so proud of Dennis. Was so proud of his little plastic Viking beer thing or whatever. He
I
got.
still
Like,
have it.
oh, I know.
It's gonna
You're
be
like,
up in the
oh,
new
this is
house.
the coolest free thing. Yeah, that is like his most prized possession. We will bury it with you. Okay,
That
your
I know.
free
Well,
Viking beer stein, whatever the hell it was. Out of a
you know what
horn.
it was? Is it hung around my neck and it was just the right length that I could put my Starbucks cup in there with a straw and not have to actually move my hands to drink. I could just lean down and sip out of my cup while I was walking around Comic-Con. It was actually pretty cool, considering your hands are full doing other crap anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I was looking at the comments. I'm trying to think what beat E.T. for Best Picture. It was like Ordinary People or something
Oh
crappy
yeah, I
like
think it was
that.
Ordinary People.
Yeah, so the Academy's full of shit. My wife is obsessed with the Viking show. So yeah, I'll be catching up. Maybe we'll
And
cover it.
yes, the Vikings supposedly is historically accurate. It's just for the people and places, but not, of course, what they're saying, because no one knows what the hell they were actually saying because no one was there.
That's true. And Hollywood mess. I just watched Darkest Hour, which I don't know if this actually happened, but they had the scene where Winston Churchill took the underground right before he was like not sure like if he should negotiate with Hitler or not. So what he did was he took the underground and talked to the people on the underground, which could have happened, but yeah, you just got to see the scene. It was such a Hollywood scene. It took me right out because like it's really a good movie. Other than that scene, I'm like, oh my God. I don't know. It's like Walt Disney's Winston Churchill moment, but the rest of the movie is great. Gary Oldman's freaking awesome. Love that guy. And you forget it's Gary Oldman about 5 minutes in, you see Winston Churchill. So that was good. There's my Darkest Hour review.
Detroit Rebel asks, who do you guys think will die in Infinity Wars? Cap and Iron Man.
You think both of them are going to die? I think Iron Man's going to die, but they're going to resurrect him.
I think they're going to die in each other's arms.
Yeah, no, I think Iron Man's gone. I think I think Robert Downey is ready to get out. A lot of them are, but I think that some of them will keep their characters alive for cameos in the future, or not cameos, but like smaller parts in the movies in the future, kind of like how they throw Scarlett Johansson in for a couple minutes every movie. But yeah, I think Robert Downey's really ready to get out.
So it was Gandhi that beat E.T. That was a pretty good movie. I can't say shit about Gandhi. Sir David Attenborough.
Loser Kid John says, "Is that ice?" I don't understand what you're talking about there.
Something about Vikings, I think.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah, clarify, please. I just lost my train of thought there.
And he also says Vision will die, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch might die.
My favorite answer to that in the comments was Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves or gets moved up at some point after this. Don't be surprised. After this phase, he like hands it off to somebody else. He's been doing this a long time, and Iger might be leaving soon. And I can't think of anybody better. Problem is that would take him off of Marvel. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be a legit phase 4. I think they're going to just do some one-offs and see where it goes. Because I keep on hearing like Spider-Man's going to be our main guy. It's like, you don't own him outright. Why would he be your main guy? That makes no sense whatsoever, unless they're going to get the rights completely back.
Yeah. They're going to have a phase 4. I mean, I don't see them stopping anytime soon. The movies make enough money at this point, and like Disney really does like their product. They're just trying to wrangle them on the production money side internally. So I think we'll see at least a phase 4. We'll see what happens with it, but
it's pretty incredible how long it's last. But the Russo brothers are not returning.
Yeah.
They're done after this. That's a blow. I don't know. We'll see. It's just, I don't know where they're going to go. I hope they recast. Don't kill off your characters and not use them anymore. I think that's just a dumb idea. If you want to kill one, that's fine. But like recast Cap.
Agreed.
Just do it. Peel this. It might not work the first time, but Bond recasted just fine. And if you loosen up your universe a little bit, you can do that. You can recast.
Yep. You can also make Bucky or Falcon Cap with, comic book history on your side, right? So
you could
ways to do everything. They should just.
I would do Bucky first.
I would do Bucky first too.
I would keep Falcon.
Yes.
And establish him a little more. But no, their sub characters aren't strong enough for movies. And I know Guardians of the Galaxy. No, James Gunn made Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't sell that guy short. He made that movie.
Oh yes,
which is on one of my lists, by the way.
Hey, Gary, I think it's a sword behind you. He's asked, is it ice from Game of Thrones?
Oh no, this is Strider's sword from Lord of the Rings. Not the King's sword. That was not Elendil's sword. That was reforged. It is Strider's sword from Fellowship of the Ring.
I do love that some of our people that are fans here are just as cynical as we are, because Ghostworld says, Black Panther is a black dude, he's definitely dying.
They're gonna send him alone down like a tunnel or something. They're gonna split up and send Black Panther down a tunnel, and then
we're all gonna go this way, you go over that way by yourself.
To dismantle a bomb.
Yeah.
He's gonna be 3 days from retirement.
3 days, yeah, and I'm getting tired of this king shit. 3
so do we want to move on? Do we have more news, or do you want to move on to the list?
That was the end of the news, actually.
I want to spin a little yarn before we get to a list, because it's our anniversary. So we got to talk about how this started. Sorry if I'm going to bore you, if some of you have heard this before. Jody, what's up, Jody? How's it going? This will be brief. So I used to own a comic store. Some of you might know that. I might have mentioned it every podcast.
You own a comic book store?
Yeah, what? It's amazing. Yeah. I know.
I just thought you had all that shit on your wall for
I sold it. And after I sold it, I was sad. I was. And Dennis was sad. There was a death in the family. And he had to come up and take care of stuff. And John and I had spoken like, hey, let's do a podcast someday. So I went ahead and used Nerdrotic because I had the URL anyway. So I just started the website and it was horrible. Not that it's great now. John has improved it greatly because I suck at that stuff. And I just needed a place to put our podcast. And I actually recorded, the first thing we recorded was me and my son recorded Matt Smith's exit, Time of the Doctor, with no mic in my basement. And it sounds awful. It is on our website. My son Indigo did a good job co-hosting with me. And we said bye to Matt Smith. But our first official one was a couple days later. Dennis was up and we were just like, man, life sucks right now. Let's podcast. Okay. So, that was pretty much it. And we met at a Starbucks in West Portal,
right? Our old hood. That's where my house used to be, a block from there, a couple blocks from there. Right. And the outpost was over there.
It was pouring rain. And we set up the Blue Yeti microphone, and asked him. We didn't even ask if it was okay. We just sat down and started podcasting, and a guy actually saw us doing it and gave us like $5 to sponsor. We haven't had a single sponsor ever since.
Yeah, come on, guys. Somebody
said, "What's your name?" And then I said, "What is her name?" And then I came up with, I'm like, "How about Sutra Watchtower?" We both laughed.
Yeah,
and we're like, "Okay, that sounds good."
That was the name of our podcast at first, was the Sutra Watchtower, because we just needed to think of a name for a second. We're like, oh, we'll think of something later, which we kind of did 3 years later. And that was our first, that was 320 shows ago. I know this is like our official podcast numbering is at 120, but if you count all the recaps and Dennis's unboxings and a couple of videos I've done, it's been 320. So here we are 4 years later. And, we actually have people listening to us because the podcast always had, 50, 60. So we did a Guardians of the Galaxy review that got a bunch of downloads on iTunes, but nobody was really listening until like we got onto YouTube, and it was John who kind of pushed us into recapping television shows. And we did it, and we've been doing this for on the YouTube thing since February, and it's doing okay. It's doing all right. We're having so much fun. And then we started doing this live thing on Friday night, and this is a blast. This is the most fun. And I have a great wife who lets me do this stuff, and I have no life either, so I don't go out on Friday night, and neither do you guys.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, I picked Friday night. But yeah, guys, I couldn't be here without Dennis and John. They freaking show up, put up with my bullshit. We've been on time, mostly ish, kind of. We're within a time frame anyway of our schedule, and it's been lots of fun. I just want to thank you guys so much, because this is the best hobby ever. I've been in bands, I've drawn comic books, I've written comic books. This is the most fun I've had in a hobby.
Yeah, me too. I mean, honestly, sitting here, it reminds me of the time we used to, and that was the thing we had kind of modeled this on. Sorry, I keep hitting my microphone there, of hanging out in the comic book store and just talking crap about anything and everything, comic related, TV related, movies, all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of thing that we kind of missed, and this kind of fulfills that. And actually having people logging in like you guys are doing and commenting and interacting with us, it's it's the same thing. It's like being in the comic book store again and talking crap about everything with everybody. So it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I missed it. So I'm glad we were able to do that.
Yeah, agreed. And that's the other thing is, like, I quit my job a couple of years ago because I wanted to start doing stuff for like that I was in charge of, or that we're in charge of, and not get a paycheck and like have the product that I work really hard on be owned by somebody else. And so it's really nice to like be here with like my friends talking about stuff I love and have it be like working towards something. So like the recaps are really fun. We're launching the TPK Games Twitch channel where we're going to be playing like Dungeons and Dragons, and like all this stuff is like, you can't ask for a better time, thing to do with your spare time or whatever. It's just like, look, we all three of us have been consuming stuff for so long, and to be able to like put that to any sort of use has been kind of rewarding. So I don't know, it is the highlight to me, is getting together with you guys and talking about all this stuff that I like to watch anyway.
Yeah, we were able to put it to use in the comic store, so we can justify it, like all the movies, all the comic books I was reading. I was like, I can write this off, and really, you can write, when you own a comic book store, any movie you go to, you can write off. It was brilliant, but it was kind of hard to justify when the comic store was gone to the wife. So I'm like, oh, I podcast now. But she actually jumps in too, and she joins us. Yeah, this is so much. And like, yeah, just chatting. That's what makes it, is the chat for me anyway, is interacting with Ghost World and Jody. And that's the coolest thing of all. So guys, yeah, sorry to bore you with that, but John, Dennis, thank you guys. Love you guys, man. You're the best co-host I could ever ask for.
I'm getting a
all
little
right, now back to work.
To my eyes.
Back to my eye. No, let's do our lists. So
hang on one second. Albion said, I still want to bury Joe Quesada in a landfill of one more day trades.
Yeah, what sucks about that is like he tainted what I think is a really good run, bringing comics back, bringing this whole era into the movies. I think he would be Stan Lee if he hadn't have done one more day. I know there's other things people nitpick him. I actually was a huge fan of the guy, and I was a huge apologist for One More Day until I read it. Like, I'm like, oh, wait till they'll see it. Maybe they'll change something. I was hoping for the best, and I was a giant Spider-Man fan. And then after I read the end of it, I was kind of done with Spider-Man. I was like, wow, I didn't think I would be, and I kept collecting, but I started reading less and less. And it got to the point where I was just collecting it, throwing it in the box, and not even reading it. And then I stopped. Then I just stopped. I hit it. And honestly, I haven't gone back. I don't like Dan Slott. And maybe I'll check out the Spectacular Spider-Man, but it turned into such hot garbage that I stopped. And Renew Your Vows, I poked around it. It wasn't strong enough to bring me back. Yeah, the damage has been done. They permanently damaged the character, but wow. I'll take Mary Jane being gone than turning one of my favorite characters into a freaking Nazi. That was unforgivable.
Yeah.
Unforgivable.
weird decision, right? Can we all agree that was a strange decision?
Or taking another one of my favorite characters and making him wanting to kill a teenage boy, hermit, weird uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a strange decision
That
too.
was Jake Skywalker, though.
That was Jake Skywalker.
Duke
Skywalker.
I also wanted to say too, like, look, I'm all for Iceman being gay. He's literally my favorite character ever created. Iceman is my jam. But the fact that like the series they launched for Iceman, his first real like ongoing series, or second maybe, I know they did some miniseries, but like is just all about that, and like it's not about like him as like an X-Men or a superhero,
a level 5 mutant.
It's just it bugs me. Yeah,
no, it was Bobby going on a date, Bobby being a dick to his parents, Bobby coming out to like each person individually, like it's 1992, like being gay is this weird thing now. It's like, really? I'm sorry, John. I felt so bad for you because I'm like, oh, Iceman's got a book, my boy John.
I know.
The only guy I know with an Iceman tattoo, and I love Iceman. Spider-Man is Amazing Friends, and they've never touched on, except for Age of Apocalypse, like how badass he is.
Yes.
Was it Age of Apocalypse? Yeah, it was Age of Apocalypse, where he's just full on God, you know. And you know, now it's bad.
Yeah, it bugged me. But anyway, yeah, the decisions they're making in the comics are super weird. Hopefully they get through this phase and we just get back to good stories again. Even if it's soap opera like stories, like the X-Men has always been soap operatic, but I just want them to be, good.
I won't shut up about The Last Jedi. I swore I would, but I just won't. I've got to get a dig in, don't I? Maybe I'll talk to my sponsor about that. There's a resentment going. I have a resentment against Rianne. Jody asked, the problem is mucking up already established characters, just sign them on with the agenda. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Like that's where we think so many things are being delayed, and Marvel's clearly shifting back to the middle. Because they saw DC. DC was looking over at Marvel because DC actually did the stuff Marvel's doing now a few years ago. Right when I was leaving the store, but they did it like kind of right in a way that, I mean, it wasn't so jarring, and they were mixing in. They were changing characters, throwing in more diversity, but it was with legacy characters, and in some ways it worked, and in a lot of ways it worked. In some ways it didn't, but then they corrected. They kept their main characters. They had other problems too, don't get me wrong, but Marvel just did it too quickly with too many characters at once. There's a way to do it, and the story sucked. But
tell good stories. That's all we care about.
Thank you. Tell good stories. I don't care who the hell's in them. Well, I want Tony Stark being Iron Man.
Jody wants to enable you there. He says in Palpatine's voice to Gary, "Do it.
Do it. Yes.
Do it." No. Okay, so we want to get to our lists.
Yeah, we made
sure.
Okay, you guys start.
Well, okay, so there are 3 lists. We're doing a top 5 TV shows, top 5 movies, and top 5 TV moments since the podcast started in 2014.
Well, it was episodes, but you can use moments.
Okay. So I did moments instead of episodes. So we're going to do the TV episodes, which I did moments last because I feel they may be a little spoilery when we talk about specific things that happen in the TV shows. But we'll do that one last and we'll give you a warning. So I don't care which of the other 2 you guys want to start with. I just wanted to give that warning.
Let's do movies first.
Okay, cool.
And you commenters can chime in with anything. It's all good.
Do we want to each say our number 5, or are we just going to go through our list?
Yeah, let's go. Let's count bottom top there. Yeah,
okay.
5 to 1. You
want to start, Dennis? What's your 5?
Sure, I'll stop. My number 5 is Kubo and the Two Strings.
What?
that was a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
Dennis likes the animated stuff.
So what is it?
Really good. It's about a kid who he's basically being chased by an evil demon, if you will, god, and it's really hard to describe, to tell you the truth, because it gives away a lot of things. You got to watch it, John. That's all.
Matthew McConaughey, Ray Fiennes, Charlize Theron do voices. Do you recommend the American voiceover or subtitles?
It's all done in English. So
it's all done in English. Is it anime style?
No, it's stop motion animation by Leica.
It's stop motion. It's very good stop motion.
I will definitely check it out. That is something that looks right up my alley. Then,
yeah,
trying to look at images right now, but they're small.
And it is a Japanese folktale.
It's super dark, though, and depressing.
It is dark, yes, but it's really good. It's really, really well done. Am I just going down my list? Is that what I'm doing? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then telling us why you like it, and we'll pipe in if you want. You know, what do you do?
My next one is Kingsman: The Secret Service. It's on number 4.
That's on my list.
That's on my list.
Kingsman: The Secret Service, just awesome. I mean, everything from Samuel L. Jackson doing the lisp to actually killing off main characters and supposedly, and just the general absurdness of the taking the James Bond to an nth level. I just really loved it.
It's that brilliant mix when style meets substance, right? When like a fun story, good acting, overly stylized thing just like keeps you entertained for like the full duration. Like I watched that movie and thought it was short, and it's not, like, because it's so engaging. Visually, I think it's like a top 5 movie for me, like ever. I think The Kingsman is one of those just extremely entertaining movies. Yeah, I agree with you, Dennis, on that one for sure.
Hell yeah.
And my number 3 was John Wick. The first
number 3. That is surprising. I was picking that for your number 1, dude.
Yeah, me too.
No, I've got a really good one for number 1. But
so what
John
do you
Wick,
like? What's
is Joel Edgerton or Anson Mount in it?
No, it's not. Believe it or not. So for John Wick, it just took the action movie, and we've talked about this before, Gary, you and I, and it just kind of boiled it down to its essence. And it's a good old-fashioned revenge action movie with someone just killing a crap load of people and doing it well. They did a really good job of it.
Yes, they did.
I still have a problem watching the dog death scene, the puppy.
I hate it when puppies die.
So that, every time. So my number 2, I couldn't really decide between the two, but I'm just going to pick one here. And I'm going to go with Captain America Civil War.
So what? Okay, so this is a good one to start with.
Ant-Man.
Okay, Ant-Man and Civil War. So what sets those apart from other MCU movies from the past 4 years?
I think what it was the buildup. It was kind of a payoff in this movie of having all these heroes together on screen that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime ever. And having them fight together or fight against each other in a way that was done well, where you can totally tell they didn't want to hurt each other, but that they had to kind of stop each other. And it was done in a way that DC couldn't.
So it's about that middle 20 minutes, like the rest of it.
And the rest of it as well, setting up the whole, the whole, do we regulate powers? Do we not regulate powers? I think they did a good enough job. Yes, Captain America, Winter Soldier was really well done as well. But for me, it was just the little extra added oomph was the Captain America Civil War. Having all the people all in one and adding Spider-Man to it. Even though he was in it for just that split little bit, but that whole thing of go for the legs, like that old movie that.
I agree that Civil War definitely has the payoff of it's all the promise of the Avengers, right? Like this is where having all these things connect pays off. It looks like they're going to do that again with Infinity War. But yeah, I can see why you would have it up there. It's not on my list, but I can see why it would be on yours. And so Ant-Man, interesting.
Ant-Man, conversely,
that is
a smaller, it's a smaller movie.
Yeah.
And it had to deal a lot more with the nuance of him becoming kind of a reluctant hero. And they hadn't done that before, really, which it was Marvel's first kind of movie of doing a reluctant hero, but who wasn't really a bad guy, but was was a convict. And also just the comedy of it. I thought they did really well, especially with Michael Peña's character. The whole thing where he keeps explaining stuff in a story within a story.
Yep.
Which made me laugh. And also they kind of brought in, the micro universe as well, the quantum universe. And I found that very interesting that they actually were, paying attention to the small details.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people didn't like it.
So I have a hard time giving my again. I love that movie, but it's not on my list. I picked different MCU movies to put on my list. So I guess I'll kind of like come back to that because Ant-Man was one I struggled with not having on my list because I did find it to be underrated, really fun. Paul Rudd was like great.
Oh yeah.
So I see why it's there, but I feel like another movie maybe has its spot on my list. So that was your number one, right?
No, that was a tie between the between the two. My number one movie, Mad Max Fury Road.
I can understand that. I can totally understand that.
And that movie to me is just pure perfection. I mean, the way that Miller just put that thing together, you can tell that movie's been percolating in his brain for at least 20 years.
It's so weird because on the lead up to that, it was kind of like with all this time off, we didn't know what we were going to get and people were very skeptical and then it hit like with like a bomb, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Everyone who saw it was just like, this is like watching artwork on, on this. And it is, it's there's so many brilliant aspects to it.
It was, I mean, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, it was the Blade Runner of 2014. Like it should have done even though I'm not the biggest fan of Blade Runner 2049, like everybody else loved it. So the acclaim and then the fan reaction was really high too, but just like those are the only people who saw it. So the vocal people on the internet were the only people who saw the movie because it made zero money. And that's kind of where Mad Max Fury Road landed. It should have made more money than it did. It is definitely on my list. It is a freaking perfect movie. Even though our boy Tom Hardy has 6 different accents in it, I don't care.
Well, he grunts through all of them too.
Yes, they're just grunts. Yeah, so there's an Irish grunt, an Australian grunt, and an grunt, American grunt, and like a Scottish grunt. So I don't know.
And I do have an honorable mention movie as well. Which is the Grand Budapest Hotel. I know it's out of left field.
This is why he's on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Van Steen knows what I'm talking about.
Quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of Wes Anderson, but for some reason, that movie of his actually was really good.
Interesting.
And I think it was more the acting than anything else. It was Ralph Fiennes' acting.
I like a couple of his movies quite a bit. I like The Life Aquatic. What was the other?
Royal
Tenenbaums is good.
Like I love his earlier stuff, but it got so meta pretentious that I have a hard time now.
Oh no, when he started doing the American Express ads and stuff, I wanted to punch him in the face.
Jody, yes, Miller was supposed to direct Justice League. It got canceled during the actors strike, the writer's strike, excuse me. And he had already assembled the cast. They were down in Australia. As a matter of fact, the one that was used as bait in Fury Road was supposed to be his Wonder Woman.
Her costume is amazing. She looks great in it.
She looks awesome in it.
And Army Archer was going to be what, Batman or I can't remember.
No. I can't remember who was supposed to be Batman.
The guy who was the Lone Ranger. I'm saying his name wrong. Sorry.
Army Hammer.
Army Hammer.
Yeah, Army
Archer Hammer.
Whatever.
Some sort of weapon.
Armin Hammer. Whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah.
So I'm sure people are. We'll leave Gary for last on this. I'll go with mine. My 5th movie is my kind of left field movie, and it's The Martian. I just thought it was really entertaining and fun. Like I didn't expect it. I think that's why I liked it so much. I usually Gravity had a lot of people loving it, and I thought it was kind of sterile to me. And The Martian could have been that, but I just thought the performances were really great in it. And I just had a lot of fun with it. I'm sure you guys.
It was a fun movie. Yeah. No, it was a good movie. I have it on DVD.
So that was my kind of left field one, but that's in at number 5. And then number 4, I have Deadpool, which again was
interesting,
out of left field. Like I don't usually love the overly violent, shock value-y stuff. Like I would rather just have good storytelling and I don't need the shock value. But this movie was so funny. It's seeing a rated R superhero movie in this style is, I think, very interesting. And I think it points toward a future trend that I hope we see. I think Logan was a different kind of adult, or a more adult superhero movie. So yeah, for me, Deadpool it was funny. It was cool. It was comic booky. It's kind of like the Deadpool I want Deadpool to be in the comics when they take it too far, right? Like this was like right at that level of Deadpoolness that I like. I don't know. What do you guys think of Deadpool?
No, I love Deadpool. I mean, again, something I own on DVD that I watch periodically from time to time, and Ryan Reynolds was perfect in the role. I mean, just absolutely perfect in the role.
Jody says The Martian felt like Castaway, but on Mars, and that's true. But I like, I don't love Tom Hanks very much, and I really liked Matt Damon in it. Not to say like I'm a huge fan of Matt Damon either, but like I thought he was great in it. So
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
My number 3 is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Again, this isn't typically the type of superhero movie I like. I thought, but I thought it was so perfect for the moment, right? Like they were tying it in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but more so it like really reflected, I think, the attitudes of the time. And at the same time was like very comic booky. I loved all the Buckies, all the Winter Soldier stuff. I thought there could have been more Winter Soldier stuff in Winter Soldier is the only critique I really have for it. But it's just, to me, the most complete non-Guardians, Ant-Man MCU movie. Like it's the most self-contained yet impactful. And here's as a caveat, I really think that Thor Ragnarok would be on my list if I have seen it. Like from what I hear about it, I feel like it's probably going to be up there when I go see it, but I haven't seen it yet. So,
it got really close to being on mine.
Yeah. So it may. Ghost World asks, how did it get into the times? And I think having the villain be like this government surveillance state when we were dealing with like drone strikes on American citizens at the time, like what's the legality of that? I thought that it went into like the general like issues with government power without that being overly like politicized or whatever. It was just that's how it was, and I thought that it reflected but didn't hit you over the I don't know. I thought it reflected it well and not in a annoying way for me. Do you is that on your list, Gary? Winter Soldier?
It could be.
It could be. Okay.
I'll just put it this way. It's my favorite Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I think it's the best Marvel movie by far. I don't think it's even close. Well,
the
there's
Russo
a close
brothers,
second, but
the Russo brothers knocked it out of the park for me on that one.
Yeah.
I already said the Kingsmen's number 2, style meets substance, blah, blah, blah. I already said all that. And then my number 1 is easily my favorite movie of the last however many years. Like we could go further back, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy. I almost put Frozen on my list. It was almost on there as an honorable mention. But I thought that'd be ridiculous. I just like icy things.
I would make you sing the song if you put it on your list.
Let it go.
Don't.
No, God, no.
I don't want to lose viewers or subscribers.
We're gonna be monetized now.
Sing away, John. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not your boss.
But
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I just think that it's like the most fun I've had at a movie in a long time. It's this generation Star Wars, in my opinion. It's different, but I think it's that cultural touchstone of sci-fi meets, I don't know, whatever. It's just fun.
It's more Star Wars than Star Wars is now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely. At least the first one.
Do you want to build a snowman?
It's a great. You just sing that in the background while I do my list. Are you done? I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Okay. No, I'm definitely done.
All right, so I'm gonna a little explainer here. I don't get to see a lot of movies. Got a family. I'm doing this podcast. I watch a S load of TV and have a day job. And you gentlemen do too. I'm not saying you don't.
I don't.
I don't go to movies like I used to. I used to go to a movie every other Friday night. I love film. And also say that in my all-time favorites films, there's only one that's kind of modern. So that I want to tell you where my taste is, because my list is really bland. I'm just trying to explain that, like, I only see
Gary
blockbusters. Okay, I only, like, if I'm gonna drop, because I bring my family, so if I'm dropping $60 here in San Francisco, it has to be like riding a roller coaster. It has to be blockbusters, and most of them really suck. So and like, okay, so my all-time favorite.
This is gonna be movies prior to 1990.
I'm old too. Okay, so Dennis, what's your all-time favorite movie?
Superman the movie. The Donner
Okay.
version from
John,
the
what is your all-time
70s.
favorite movie?
Probably Serenity.
I'm not gonna. Those are two great picks. Mine's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay,
Yeah, mine would be up there.
Yeah.
Fight Club's a close second. That's the only modern movie that I like. Everything else is like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Godfather Part 2, and Clockwork Orange, and huge Kubrick fan. Blade Runner.
A New Hope.
But this list really puts this. It's really bland and terrible, and my honorable mention will make people hate me. So I'm going to go with. I'm going to end with the honorable mention. But number 5 is Deadpool. I put Deadpool. I don't like Deadpool as a character. I liked it back in the late 80s, early 90s. I like Deadpool. I don't like what he is now. The fourth wall, breaking the fourth wall stuff just got kind of old to me. But the movie took all the best bits of his book with a perfect costume, with a perfect person playing it, giving us the two best representations of two of my favorite X-Men. And yes, Negasonic Teenage Warhead is one of my favorite X-Men.
That's so crazy.
Colossus, and doing Colossus right. I was expecting this movie to be kind of funny. I did not expect it to end up on one of my all-time favorite superhero movies. Especially, I'm not the biggest X-Men fan. I like them, but I hate Liefeld. But damn, this character is a total ripoff of Spider-Man and Deathstroke, and they made something original and cool, and it was funny as hell, well directed, the best opening credits I've ever seen. I love Deadpool. I cannot wait for Deadpool 2. I think they're going to miss Miller as a director. I could be wrong on that one. They got one of the guys from John Wick.
Let me throw this out there. What if Ant-Man had been a rated R? Like, what if Ant-Man had the sensibility of Deadpool to some degree? Like, wouldn't that have
Edgar Wright had got to do his Ant-Man, it'd probably be on my list.
Yeah. That's where agreed.
I like Ant-Man.
Really
the Ant-Man that came out was really good.
Agreed. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting to see this Deadpool that I don't expect a movie to be like that, right? Like, you can't define what Deadpool is easily with words because there's not a comparable out there. And I think that's why it's on my list. Because you're right, Gary. I didn't think it would ever be on a list of my favorite anything, but it is.
I'm a fan of the Joe Kelly and McGinnis Deadpool. Okay. Because that's pretty much what made Deadpool to me anyway. There's been some other stuff later that's really good. But that's the stuff I like, and I read it because of the Ed McGuinness art mainly. So I'm a huge Ed McGuinness fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, surprising it's almost number 4 is a movie Dennis had to talk me into watching forever, and I finally just like fucking I'll shut him up and watch this fucking movie, and it's number 4 on my list for the last 4 years. It is John Wick. John Wick kicked my ass. It was so good. And watching Theon kill a dog was a little hard, and it just the whole build up, and it's a ridiculous movie. It's utterly ridiculous with the cars and the guns, and I'm like, God, they don't do this anymore. There's Keanu Reeves. This is how bad Hollywood has gotten. When Keanu Reeves is like the manliest man rolling right now, like the biggest alpha male going. I can go down the weeds. My whole theory on and no offense to any of our British listeners or watchers, but they cast a lot of British men in roles now for some reason. I don't know why, but the
accent's pretty damn sexy, Gary.
It is sexy, but I think they are the more of the I'll equate it to the Roger Moore Bond. You know what I mean? Not as manly as Connery, but still manly in more of a suave way, something like that. That's why we just the leading men have been like that. There hasn't been a Charlie Bronson or a fucking Lee Marvin or something like that lately. And we got Tom Hardy, and that's it. And this movie kind of reminded me of those old movies of just Death Wish, and Death Wish 2 is in my top 10 favorite movies. And it's all a horrible fucking movie with horrible content. Like his daughter gets raped and he kills everybody. That was it. Not a lot of talking in the movie, but it's I love that movie. It's a great.
How was John Wick 2 in comparison?
Just as good. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It just didn't make my list. John Wick was the first. It came first. Some people criticize John Wick 2. I don't. Number 3 is your number 1. Guardians of the Galaxy. My top 3 I can flip flop. Guardians of the Galaxy renewed my faith in comic book movies. It was a stupid property, but I had read the Guardians of the Galaxy that came out like right around the Civil War time, and they were doing the Annihilation run to keep all the galactic characters out of the Civil War. So they did this Annihilation crossover event, which I can argue is better than Civil War, especially in Resolution. And Guardians of the Galaxy were in this, and everything from the movie is taken basically from that run. And it was Russell and a couple other and Roger who got me into it at the comic store. They were just talking us up, going, "Man, no, it's really good. Rocket is great." And I read it, and I'm like, "Wow, if they based the movie on this will probably be pretty good." And then the music thing was cool, but just how we got to see the Eternals, and it opened up the galactic, the door to the galactic side of the Marvel universe, which is so cosmic. Yeah, it's so epic. The Starlin stuff, and I'm a huge Jim Starlin fan, so that's why I liked that one.
In the first D&D game I ever played, this dude and I accidentally created characters that were basically exactly like Groot and Rocket. Like I was this little halfling and he was this like giant, like shadowy rogue. It's like the movie subconsciously has just evaded all of my pop culture sensibilities at this point. I can't remember a world where a talking raccoon didn't exist in movie form, and I think that's a big deal.
Definitely. I gotta, when I'm done here, because I've been blabbing too long, we should catch up on some comments there. Sorry. I didn't see Baby Driver. Man, that see again, if I saw it and Baby Driver, they could be on this list. But I didn't see them.
Baby Driver, and I wasn't impressed as much as everyone else was. It was good.
I'm gonna watch it because I love Edgar Wright. I love Edgar Wright. It's actually ending up a lot of people I watch. It's on their list for this year. So I don't know. I might hate it.
Check it out.
So number 2, I'll do this quick because it's a movie that's on John's list too. Actually, the next 2 movies are on both of your lists. So number 2 was Captain America: Winter Soldier. It is my favorite Marvel movie. Civil War didn't end up on my list, but it's like number 6. I mean, it's really good.
Yeah.
But Civil War was a prologue. It was purely that's the only thing.
But it was just the payoff. Yeah.
The Baron Zemo stuff was, while it was well done, it was kind of, like I said, it was well done, but wasn't what I was expecting. And it really left it open at the end. It's almost a cliffhanger that they have not resolved or even spoken about since then. We dealt with it a little bit in Spider-Man Homecoming, but that story is still wide open and out there. And I've been kind of disappointed that they haven't done stingers setting up Infinity War. That boggles my mind. I don't know why they've done that. And the Thor could have almost ended on my list too. Had a really good time with Thor. I don't know. Captain America: Winter Soldier is a perfect comic book movie. It's everything like your 18 to 35 male and women too, but it hits the sweet spot on your demographic right there, because it's Cap being badass. I mean, they could have made it a rated R movie, made a little more violence. The only thing that's missing from Marvel movies is relationships. There's no sex at all. Like, these people aren't sleeping with each other. They're way too busy.
Weird, right? Because in comic books, that's all over the place. It's weird.
It was. No, Disney is completely taking that out of comics, and it's unless it's Bobby turning gay.
It's kind of like the Callister, the USS Callister, where no one has any kind of
exactly. That's the one thing I'm missing in my comic books, because the comic books used to be filled with it. Like, is Spider-Man going to date the Black Cat? And is he going to? And she she only liked Spider-Man. She never wanted to see who was behind the mask. There's something really weird and sexy about that, and that was in a kid's book. All right, so there was a little sexual tension between Black Widow and Cap, but I mean, little bit, and that's as far as they would go. My number 1 movie is and people would say it's style over substance, but I would disagree with them all day long, is Kingsmen: The Secret Service. Kingsmen: The Secret Service is it puts into a movie what every comic book movie still needs. Stylized fun. The fighting scenes and the action scene in the church is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Yeah. It was so well shot. perfect to a great song, and killing a church full of people. And yeah, that whole scene, that my jaw was on the ground when I was done. And there was there was girls and sex and stuff in it. So which it just isn't in movies anymore. And I like the sexy time a little bit. And the princess, and the butt stuff was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off while I was having fun in a great movie that actually was better than the comic book. And they were pretty true to the comic book, but the execution was so good. Matthew Vaughn is my favorite director. I've loved the guy since Layer Cake. I love the Kingsman sequel. I do. I liked it for what it was. And I think he should, I read an article back on the 20th that WB is in talks for him to do the next Man of Steel movie. They need to make that happen.
Oh yeah, they definitely
need
do
to make that happen. So not the Punisher. I'm catching the comments. So we should probably catch up on the comics. So that's my movie list. Sorry, long-winded there. You want to read a little bit?
I've tried to incorporate some of the comments, but yeah, go for it. Pull your favorites out.
So Arturo Espinoza, of course, says fucking Disney once again. For everything that we've been saying.
Just a Jody, Clint Eastwood is above Bronson. He is the all-time favorite. Yes.
He also said that someone said that John Wick, basically what they should do is take an Atomic Blonde and say that Charlize Theron's character from Atomic Blonde, which was set in the 80s, should have trained John Wick. They could have done that as a prequel kind of thing, and that's what made him such an unstoppable badass. And I could see that. That would be. I like Atomic Blonde, so that was Albion that was actually saying that it should be made into a prequel, where we find out that she trained John Wick.
Atomic Blonde just barely missed the mark for me. It was stylistically beautiful, but there was just something, I don't know.
It's another comic book movie, by the way, too.
Yeah, it was.
Somebody said what's missing in the Marvel movies is a decent villain, and I think look, I think a lot of people, and I'm probably one of them, liked Loki. It was when they made him more not a villain that they had a problem. Like trying to continue, that was the issue there. And yeah, you're right. The Marvel Netflix shows have the best villains. Kingpin, Purple Man. Those have been some of the most successful villains that Marvel had. So I agree.
Cottonmouth before they killed him off.
Yeah, Cottonmouth. Yeah. He should have just been the main villain.
He should have been the main villain, man. I mean,
I went off the rails after he died. The show.
Yeah, they can't afford him now anyway, so he's an Oscar.
Oh hell no! But you could tell when they were doing that, like this guy is on an acting level above everybody.
Yep, that's why they had to kill him off.
Yeah, that's why they had to get rid of him.
Yep. They're like, you can only have him for 4 episodes. We'll take him.
And also, Loser Kid John says that Samuel L. Jackson killed it in Kingsman, which he did. He did.
Just good villain, and the razor blade leg girl was, sexy and deadly all at once, and cutting that guy in half, and it was properly gross, and it was everything. I know people will disagree. I kind of like the silly Bond stuff. I'm a Roger Moore fan.
Me too.
Okay, I mean, I can appreciate Sean Connery and stuff, but if you go back and watch, especially Dr. No, it's one of the worst edited movies ever.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Says Kevin Smith should do a Kingsman-like movie.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can do any action stuff. I mean, I like Kevin Smith. I probably like him more than maybe the two of you guys, but I don't
like him at all. So yeah, he's great where he is right now, doing nothing or shows.
He does good podcasts.
Yeah, he's got he's doing great on his pod. I don't watch any of them, but he gets millions of subscribers and stuff, so he's doing something right.
He's probably talking about the same
Batman
story
on the Batman or something like that, or whatever.
The early Batman on Batman stuff was ridiculously good.
Does he talk about how he was forced to write about a giant spider and Superman or something like that?
I hope he's moved past that story.
Yeah.
Fucking Disney. He's got to get that in. Oh man.
Johnson said, just wanted to stop by and wish you guys a happy 4-year anniversary. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Doug.
Miss you, buddy.
And Jody says Cottonmouth was the best thing, and Luke Cage. Diamondback was just WTF with that weird suit. That was his original suit from the 70s, man. We all agree with that. That was just kind of like, what the hell was that?
Cool.
Was it Loser Kid John who was saying that Matthew Vaughn should do the next Bond movie? Have you heard the news about the next Bond movie? By the way,
No.
Yeah,
it could be a woman.
well, no, that they
That's
what
what
she
no,
said
they,
was what
he
Barbara
said was
Broccoli
it could
said.
be a woman or a POC.
Yeah, Barbara Broccoli. That's because right now,
Beyonce's Bond.
not
Hashtag.
Beyonce. Who's the guy in the Dark Tower now? I'm just forgetting his name.
Idris Elba.
Yes, thank you. He's up for the role of James Bond after Daniel Craig leaves. So that is a very strong possibility.
I'd like Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think he'd be good at anything. So whatever.
Yeah, I actually think he would be a better Bond than Idris Elba. People might disagree, but I think he's a little more smooth. Idris Elba's badass, so he would just be another Daniel Craig. I think you should make Idris Elba 008 or 006. And you want to bring in a woman, make her 001 or 002, or give us M's early adventures. Make it a cinematic universe. But Bond is a white English dude, period. And nobody's going to watch the movie. Idris Elba might bring some butts in the seats in the UK, but that's not James Bond, and it's not even about race or gender. It's about, that's what the fucking character's called.
Here's the thing, though,
slapping another label on it. It's stupid.
As movies, it makes more sense than for TV show because it's just a one ticket thing. Like you go, like if it's just a one-time watching thing, right? Like if it doesn't work or a story, whatever, then it doesn't really matter because you just recast it after that. For a TV show, it's a lot more annoying when they take a character and change it fundamentally because then you're stuck with that for.
I guess if you're making like an Elseworlds Bond, like Idris Elba, I wanted him as Doctor Who. I wanted that guy as Doctor Who bad, but they went the other way. So I could see him as like an Elseworlds Bond. Sure, why not? Or if you're going to reboot the franchise with him and go that route, that'd be cool too.
Chris Wold says, why don't we make a transgender Bond?
Why not?
Sure. I mean,
that way, the best of both worlds. Everybody's satisfied.
Yeah. And you can tell everyone.
Loser Kid John says, I want a male Lara Croft. Lars Croft.
Croft.
Lars Croft.
That's the movie I've been waiting for.
Bill the Vampire Slayer instead of Buffy. But he still has to dress like he's a cheerleader. He's a male cheerleader.
Jody gave his 5 movies. He said number 1 was Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 2 was Civil War. Number 4, Logan. And number 5, and she lost me on Days of Future Past.
Yeah, with a question mark though, so that's fine.
What was number 3?
Deadpool.
Okay.
Deadpool.
I like Days of Future Past. I do. I actually like that movie. I do. I mean, I know it's the singer, but I kind of like that movie. I think First Class is better, but
yeah, First Class too.
Yeah.
So, you want to do TV shows, guys?
Yeah. And I just want to say Veronica just popped by as well to say happy anniversary.
Up,
hi, Veronica. Thank you.
She also said she'd like Charlize Theron as Bond, so you know.
Bond. Yeah.
I like Charlize Theron. I'd like her.
Whatever.
I wanted to see her Mad Max movie.
Well, I don't know if you heard that Sam Mendes at one point was toying with in the last Bond movie, or maybe it was the first Bond movie. He was talking about that James Bond is actually a title that actually gets passed on.
That's stupid.
That's like a mantle. I mean, I guess technically in movies, like that's like casting an actor.
All I can say is go for it. Give it a shot. See what happens.
Good luck.
And good luck with that. Have a lot of fun with that one. When Ocean's 8 comes out, you'll see.
So I will. I'll start off the TV side of stuff, and my number. So top 5 TV shows of the last 4 years. My number 5 is one that you guys don't watch, but I am going to start the podcast back up again. Coming in the next few weeks or within the next month or so, and that's The Genius, which is a South Korean reality TV show. It's a strategy it's like a social strategy show where like they have to do really smart things, and it's just really brilliantly done. It's a surprising show. You can watch it online. So anyway, I know a lot of people, but if you want to know more about that one, I'll be covering it. We already have the first half of the first season in podcast form, but we want to do it here on the YouTube channel with video. So we're going to start that thing over. Anyway, I know you guys haven't watched it, so I won't, but it's good stuff. My number 4, again, I don't think you guys will agree with, at least, but I really think The Flash is a fun show, and it's a show that I really enjoy. The first, I would say, season and a half, 2 seasons, I thought was top notch. I have it again in our TV episodes or TV moments. Yeah, it's just my favorite of the CW stuff. So I decided to slot it in there in lieu of like anything else. I know Dennis probably would have Supergirl in that place if he had a CW show or if he has a CW show. But for me, it's The Flash.
I do not have a CW show.
Yeah, figured. So getting to the ones that you guys actually probably care about. Number 3, I have American Gods. And Gary and I covered the first season. It's a book that I really loved, but hadn't read in a long time. I just kind of looked back fondly in my memories of it, right? And then Gary and I covered it, and I was not happy with it at the beginning. I don't like Brian Fuller. I wasn't totally excited about the tone of the show for the first few episodes, and I was a little bit ornery about it. And like its 3rd or 4th episode, when the bad guys started getting introduced and the world started expanding, the show just became a gem, right? Like it was pretty spectacular. The production, the performances, the fact that they took specific episodes to hone in on certain character stories. I really, really loved American Gods. I don't know, Gary, is American Gods on your list at all?
Is America? I was looking for I could not find my list. I found my list, and it is not. It is like
Okay.
number 6.
It's like an honorable mention. Yeah. So I don't know.
6 or 7. But I mean,
got
the
it.
shows I have above it, you'd understand.
Yeah. Number 2 for me is Jessica Jones. I thought it could have been Daredevil, but I just thought David Tennant as Purple Man, and then her in The Defenders kind of solidified her as a character for me, even though I didn't love The Defenders that much. But I just think the show is one of the best Marvel Netflix shows, if not the best. So I had it up there at number 2. And then my number 1 show is Runaways. It's my favorite show, or one of my favorite show creators. My favorite show creator outside of Joss Whedon, doing one of my favorite comic book properties written by one of my favorite comic book writers. So the melding of all that stuff, it has James Marsters in it and Kevin Wiseman. The cast is great. The adaptation has been a little bit weird. So it's strange. Like, it's keeping me on my toes. And on top of that, I've had so much fun podcasting about it with you, Gary, because there's so much cool stuff to talk about. It's not a Mr. Robot or a Westworld where it has a bunch of conspiracy theories, but the show makes you wonder, based on what you know about it, like where it's going all the time. Like, there are interesting cliffhangers and interesting mysteries and nuances behind the scenes that it's just really fun to talk about and think about. So for me, Runaways is my favorite show of the last 4 years. And it's funny too, because a lot of the shows that I really, really love and watch started more than 4 years ago. Like, I love Game of Thrones. There's a lot of shows out there that I really like that are older, but as far as like, since we've been covering stuff, those are definitely my top 5.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to pick Runaways number 1.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that as well.
No, Runaways is good.
It's just to my taste, right? Like,
yeah, it's all about
I'm
taste.
not going to argue that it is better, like a better produced or whatever show than Legion, because it isn't, right? But it's a show that I want to watch.
Your top 5 from the last 4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not about technical. It's about what you like, what you would watch more. What you would sit down. It's like, I have a choice of 5 shows, and what you would pick first.
Genius, Flash, American Gods, Jessica Jones, and Runaways. Those are my 5.
Argue with any of that. Dennis, go for it.
I want you to go next, Jerry.
All right, I'll go. Okay, this has been way harder than the movies, because I watch a crap load of TV, and in my opinion, a crap load of good TV. So it was hard to whittle it down to 5. So I got 2, maybe 3 honorable mentions. So I'll start with an honorable mention, which is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, which would have been number 1 if it wasn't for last season. And it still holds a special place in my heart. I hope they could rally and win me over in the last season, and everything will be good. And I even, just how habitual I am, I bought season 7 on Blu-ray. I don't know if I'm even going to crack it open and watch it, but I had to complete my collection. So Game of Thrones, And there's parts of the season 7 I like to, watch all the battling and stuff, but it just became average. It became basic. And that was disappointing. My other honorable mention here, if I wrote it down, as 1, 2, 3, 4, is Happy. Is Happy. Happy climbed up there real fast. Now it could go to shit, but the first 4 episodes are so good. Like I've rewatched all of them and love them so much. That's my honorable mention. Here are my top 5. We'll start out with number 5. And again, like any of these shows could be number 1. I just picked an order. Number 5 is Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot hooked me the first time I saw it, made me uncomfortable with all the drug use. So I jumped out a little bit, and it was the episode in season 2 where he puked up his Adderall and then ate it out of the puke. I was like, that actually looks way too familiar. So, but I jumped back into it. We recapped it this 3rd season and had such a great time. And we got to meet so many fans over it and great interaction. And it's one of our hottest videos.
Yep.
Is the 10th, our coverage of episode 10 from season 3. It's at almost 9,500 views, which is crazy. For an hour and 18-minute video. Average watch time on it's like 20 minutes. So people are like actually watching, and we got into the weeds and we have the dumbest theories. And that's the thing. We're not afraid to look dumb on the internet.
Right.
I do it at a minute by minute basis. And some of our theories are whack. One guy like went way into like, you guys are crazy and you're foil. And I just answer with, yep.
That's what we do.
Yep, that's what we do. Get into the weeds. Love Mr. Robot. But I'm going to defend myself and Dennis right now that one of our theories, Sam Esmail said, is true. Whether how they're going to use it in the show, I don't know. But the whole time displacement dimensional thing, that's happening, people.
Yes.
That is happening. Okay.
I love being vindicated on that.
There you go. Okay. Number 4. God, this was so hard because it's like picking favorite children. Was Ash versus Evil Dead. Again, this probably would have been number 1, except the very ending of season 2. While I loved the season, first season's perfect. It ended weird, and you can tell that there was a creator rift, and they changed the ending, and it just it feels thudded in there and way too happy for an Ash versus Evil Dead thing. And I know they were trying to flip the script on that, but it just rewatch the 2nd season and watch the last 10 minutes. You can tell that they like reshot everything and changed a bunch of crap. Okay, so number 3 is The Expanse. The Expanse is perfect science fiction television to me, where it is scientifically based, but they still bring in aliens. The only gripe I would have with Firefly, it was just people. And I know they wanted to purposely keep aliens out of there, but I like the way they did the aliens in The Expanse. And again, spoiler warning, the aliens are basically dead, and you're dealing with an alien tool that it's not really conscious, but it's got a program that to use basically anything living to build what it needs to build. And anything living or dead, like anything it can, and it's like it spreads like a disease, but it has a programmed intelligence, and we're supposedly at the top of our intelligence, and we're colonizing, and we the humans find this thing that just like levels us up a million times, and it does a real great job of showing how humans faced with danger would not unite, but would fight and squabble to the bitter end, which is great. And it's very Battlestar Galactica done. Yeah, right.
No, I'm sorry. I was laughing at Ghostworld says. Yeah. He's calling it that Gary's #1 pick is Star Trek Discovery.
How did you know? How did you know? No, it is not. It is not. So Expanse was, what was that? Number 3. Okay. So number 2 is Daredevil.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You picked Daredevil.
Daredevil first season 1, season 2. I love them equally.
So why did you pick Daredevil over Jessica? Or if you did, why is that the Marvel Netflix show you picked over
Jessica Jones?
Or just over all of the Marvel Netflix shows?
The only one that doesn't get boring in the middle.
Okay. That's fair.
I mean, I'd love to tell you anything deeper, But
and that's all Foggy, right? Like he's the one who kept the middle of the season working in season.
the entire cast. But Stick is wonderful in it. One of the best origin stories. It is my argument that every Marvel superhero should be on television because it's originally serialized storytelling in the comic books. So the movies, like Superman's great for the movies because pretty much anybody knows Superman for the big event, the big save. But when you talk about serialized storytelling, Batman, I think, is destined for TV someday. I think that's where he belongs. I think Daredevil is a perfect template for that. I think Spider-Man's destined for
it'll
TV.
Just be Nightwing. Like they will never.
Yeah, no. I want that way you can display what we've never really seen the real Batman.
I know, it's crazy.
No.
After all these movies, we have seen pieces of the real Batman, but we haven't. But with Daredevil, I feel like I've seen the fleshed out real Daredevil that Jon Romita worked on, Frank Miller, Stan Lee created, Anna Sente, like that was freaking Daredevil. So perfection.
Tony H asks, what about Punisher? Like why over the Punisher? I think
the Punisher is it's my second favorite Netflix series. It's in the top 10. If I did a top 10 list, the Punisher would be like 9. Punisher was awesome. Really, really good. I hated it the first 2 episodes, and by the end, I realized I was a freaking idiot, and it was a great show.
Oh, I didn't watch it because you told me not to because of the first 2 episodes. Now
it is not for you, John. It's no.
It really is not for you, John.
It is not. It is a hardcore dude thing. I mean, I'm not saying women wouldn't watch it. I'm sure many women would enjoy it, but it is a straight up like we know our audience. Our audience is Punisher is a male dude audience, and it's really sophisticated show. It deals with the gun thing, politics. That's again template for how Hollywood should do things is the Punisher. It really even-handedly talked about some issues. I know some people saw some bugaboos in there. I didn't, and I thought it was perfect. Number 1 show. This will be the new Game of Thrones. I mentioned this earlier. I hinted to it. I've now rewatched the show in its entirety 6 times, which is a lot. Is Westworld. Westworld was perfect television. It was a Twilight Zone wrapped into a Blade Runner with a Clint Eastwood Western, one of the best soundtracks ever, some brilliant freaking acting, the highest production value possible while filming in basically the most plain 70s TV color palette you could imagine. But that's how it's supposed to look. Even its inaccuracies were actually me being an idiot. So when Lawrence, I'll give you an example. Lawrence has a different haircut in 2 different scenes. And I'm like, man, the editing on this show is kind of sloppy. I even mentioned it in the podcast. I'm like, you can clearly see Lawrence has longer hair. And then later on, again, spoiler, where you find out you're 30 years earlier. So like every freaking detail. And they even mention it. It gets meta within the show when Dr. Ford says there's nothing happens in this park without me programming. I am God. Like the only thing, and if you go to the website, it really gives away a lot of the show. The website, the terms and services for the Westworld Park gives you so many hints on where the park is. And the only things that are natural in that park are the flies. So everything else is a robot programmed. I've watched it 6 times. I am now convinced Dr. Ford was actually a host.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. No spoilers.
I'm gonna let you talk. I don't know. These are theories. These aren't spoilers.
I know, but like for those who are going to check it out,
dude, you've had a year to watch it. Okay, yeah, and there's and I'll talk about it in my when I'm talking about episodes. There's one scene that blew my mind last night. I just figured out something on a 6th viewing of the original last night. I'm like, I missed something that was so obvious that should totally give away. Like the biggest mystery is, where is Westworld? Where is it? Is it on an island? Is it under the water? Is it a planet? Is it Anaheim? I don't know.
No more spoilers. There's some chat people too who are like,
don't worry. So. Well, dude, watch the damn show. It's been out.
We will.
Come on. I'm sorry, but after a year, I'm free. All right, so that was it. That's my list.
Nice.
Good list.
I'm going to start off also with my honorable mentions. And I'm going to go real quick through the honorable mentions. Taboo, Westworld, and the entire Netflix Marvel series.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Because I again, it's like picking children, except for, Iron Fist. Iron Fist is the bad child in that one.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it. And
I still enjoyed it. Yeah.
Taboo was, I mean, I can't believe I missed it. Taboo was so good.
Yeah. It
So
just
freaking
didn't
good.
reach. And I know you guys are going to nitpick me to death on my 5. So my number 5 starts off with Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah. Hey, I get it. I totally get it.
For me, it's what Star Wars has been missing. It's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the most Star Wars in tone. So that's why I really liked it. And
yeah, I like all the characters. Chopper, like I just feel like they do a good job with like making it feel like the world of Star Wars. It's a little like kid snarky because it is a cartoon for kids. Like there are cartoons for adults, and this isn't one of them. But adults will enjoy it, and it does inherently feel Star Warsy. So I get it. I love it.
And I think it actually, moves the Star Wars mythos forward more than the movies have with the Bendu and everything. It just
the holocrons.
That's where it should have been going. Yeah, the holocrons, everything like that. It was awesome. I'm like, okay, this is where the movies with this stuff,
I was annoyed that in The Last Jedi, the text of the Jedi wasn't like a holocron. Like that annoyed me. Although, that kind of did, Yoda came and ruined all that. But anyway, sorry.
Well, they're still, well, never mind. Those books are sitting in Ray's locker in the
sure.
And we already saw that. So my number 4 is Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I figured you'd have Rick and Morty.
It's just freaking mind-blowing, man. I mean, it's dark. It is really, really dark, but it's also really funny. And just, it goes everywhere. I mean, it goes everywhere in the series. And just awesome. Just really, really awesome stuff. Can't recommend it more. My number 3 is Mr. Robot. Same reason for Gary. That first, from the first episode, I knew there was something special about it. And it hasn't disappointed. It just keeps riding more and more and just going gangbusters.
It does. It really there was a couple people bitching about it this season. I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah.
You're insane.
Yeah. This has been the best season so far. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better.
It was the fastest moving season. It went crazy at the end. I think some people, even though you and I went way into the weeds, we weren't disappointed that because they didn't tell you a whole lot you did get some big reveals. I think people were expecting more, but the reveals that we're getting towards the end of the series, by the way. It's going to go 5. That's it. So we're going to season 4. We're pretty much going to set up for that. I think the stuff we're talking about is going to come at the end of season 5 without saying anything. And again, if you haven't watched that show, get your butt over to Amazon Prime or whatever and watch it.
And by the way, this is the last 4 years that we were talking about that, our favorite show.
This is our best of 2017. This is since we started the podcast.
Legion is my number 2. Again, for everything that I've said, it's funny, it's scary, it's stylistic, it's good. I mean, it hits on all notes. And I just can't wait to see where season 2 is going to go. Noah Hawley, I've got to watch Fargo now just because I love what he's done so much with this. It makes me want to watch Fargo now. And I know Gary's watched season 1 and says it's really good. So
I'm actually more optimistic about season 2 than I think I enjoy season 1. Like I feel like at the end of Legion season 2, I'm going to be singing a different story just based on the trajectory of the show. Over the course of season 1, I feel like by the end it was giving me more of what I want. So yeah, I'm excited for season 2 of that show.
Yeah, and of course my number 1, Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. I mean, bringing back the boomstick, man. I love me some Bruce Campbell. I just really do. And considering that Sam Raimi was on board, Rob Tapert, everyone was on board. And each episode was just a small little movie, a gem in its own right. And so perfect. Not a missed opportunity in any, well, except for like you said, the end of season 2, a little bit weird. You could tell it was remade.
That's a real small nitpick, though.
That's really small nitpick.
It's a perfect TV show. If you got to pick anything to watch, if you guys are squeamish out there, that's your show. For one, it needs your help. It needs to be watched by lots of people for it to survive. Hopefully Netflix picks it up. because I mean, just go look around. I have not seen a single bad review
It's on
that
Netflix.
show.
Yeah,
And it's on Netflix right now, which is I think
Yeah.
that's a good sign, actually, guys.
Exactly,
Don't you?
yeah.
I think
and it's funny. It's gory. I mean, they use buckets of blood, and that was my selling point on this. When like I said, when I went to Comic-Con that first season, and Bruce Campbell was talking about it, and he said he had to spend 40 minutes in the shower after one scene trying to get blood out of every single orifice
Yeah.
in his body because of how much blood they used.
A lot of people in the comments have asked where Stranger Things is on our list, and Stranger Things is a show that I think probably just missed maybe a couple of our lists, but it is one of those. We are three people who didn't quite go all in on Stranger Things like most people who did go all in on it. So I think we all kind of enjoy it. It just missed for a while.
Actually,
it's in my top 10.
Yeah, it was in my top 10 as well. I mean, I really loved it. And as a matter of fact, I pushed Gary to watch that.
Yes, he did.
Because he's like, oh, I don't know about it. I'm like, no, dude, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. And he finally watched it and loved it. So second season wasn't as good as the first season, but still it was good.
Well, you know what? I was afraid it was just going to be this big retro fest, which it was, but it was still really well done.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, I was in the 80s. I was there. Yeah, they're all right. I mean, people love to romanticize them a little bit too much, but
I mean, that's the moral of the story, though. Like anything in and of itself isn't good or bad, right? Like a retro fest isn't good or bad. It's just how you do it. If you do it well, if you treat it right. So like any of this stuff, and I think that's what's also fun about the three of us is we all have different tastes, but like good is good. And there are certain things that are just undeniable.
Albion asks, anyone here a fan of Spartacus? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Stephen DeKnight and Andy, the first Spartacus, I actually was at Comic-Con again and saw him on the panel when he was announcing that he was going to step down for a little bit to battle his cancer that was happening. And he was really just a really nice guy. And, cancer sucks, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, how many shows can like lose? And the guy was great, and the guy who took the place, I mean, wasn't as good as him, but he was still good. It was like I had a little rough time with the transition in the first episode, and I think I was all in after that. And oh my god, that show what it was already great, and it could have gone longer and been great. Yeah, because Andy did a great job that first season. He did.
Yeah, he did.
So sad. So sad, but I love that show. The style of it. It took 300. It basically took Zack Snyder and did it better.
Yep.
Sam Raimi, man, I'm telling you, the guy needs to make his comeback to superhero movies. He does. People, he's exercised Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I love you, Sam Raimi. Please come back and do Spider-Man again or something. But like Spider-Man, not Spider-Boy.
Yeah.
Someone else asked, Ghostworld says it's so bizarre. I turned my sister onto the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness movies, yet she's watching the TV show, and I'm not. Laugh out loud. You should be watching it.
You should be watching it, Jody. Trust us.
That was Ghostworld.
Is it Ghostworld? Sorry.
Yeah.
Isaiah says, too bad Pacific Rim sequel looks awful. It does.
It does.
It really does.
I mean, what do you want from it, right? Like, it looks like that's going to be robots punching each other in cities. Like, at least
it looks like generic robots punching really generic. My biggest complaint about, especially the Guillermo del Toro directed first one, was the monsters just they weren't that well designed. They looked all the same. I don't know. That was not
my biggest problem. It was always like in the dark or in the rain or underwater where you couldn't actually see the robot and the robot was gimped. Like that was my problem with it. Like,
I was so excited to see that movie. I mean, that was like the movie I wanted to see. I was like, I'm more excited than anything was Pacific Rim, and I still liked it. It was still pretty good. But it wasn't. I thought it'd be better.
Yeah.
But that's been Guillermo del Toro lately for me, and I love the guy. But even The Shape of Water, I know some people are loving the movie, and it's not a bad movie. It's a really good movie, but it's not great in any way, shape, or form.
Annika asks, have you guys seen The End of the Fucking World? It's kind of twisted, but also fascinating. I binge watched it when it aired on Channel 4, and it's still one of my favorites. I've heard of it. I know it's about two kids, like a coming of age story. They run away, and the boy is supposed to be like a budding serial killer who's thinking about killing the girl at the end of the trip, but everything on their trip keeps kind of pushing them together, and it sounds interesting, but I just
it does.
It wasn't really promoted in the United States
Netflix?
very much.
Yeah,
Is it on Netflix?
it is on Netflix. Yeah,
it is on Netflix. Okay,
yeah,
I'll check it out.
yeah.
Something Melissa would like for sure.
There were a lot of comments about Star Wars Rebels and Two Sons and what people's favorite episodes were. So
we are going to get to our favorite episodes and our favorite. We haven't gotten there yet, so that's why I don't want to mention anything as of yet. That's why
I wished I had remembered to put a Rebels one on. Like, now that I think about it, I may have to adjust my list because it's I'll keep it as it is. But yes, there are some great Star Wars Rebels moments and episodes.
Yeah. And Ghostworld says you are way off. Literally, each monster look unique, man. Knife head, Mutavore. Yeah, they look like the same kind of character, only with a knife head.
Sure. I will agree to disagree. It's okay. Maybe because it was too dark. Maybe because I couldn't see the monsters.
That was my problem.
Okay, they might have looked different, but they weren't. They didn't stand out. I mean, I thought I would get better monster design from a brilliant artist. I mean, I have opened his book. I have held his art book and gone through it and see what that guy can make. And it looks like they took his designs and made them a little more generic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, Gary, Cara Breslin came in and said, just want to stop in for a real quick and say hi. Congrats on 4 years. Yeah.
Oh my God. That was an employee from and a friend, Cara. From the Comic Outpost, and one of the best employees I ever had. Seriously, she's a rock star. Love you, Cara.
Loser Kid John asked, do you guys read the Walking Dead comics? I still do. I actually read the trades, so I am almost cut up all the way. I think I need to buy the next trade that's out. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I stopped on the I still have to get the last 2 trades, so I very recently have stalled out a little bit.
So on single issues, I read up to 100?
All Out War.
Yeah. And then I sold my issues because the first one was like going for like a couple grand at the time. I was like, right on.
Yeah.
And just bought the compendiums, and I'm waiting for the I guess the 4th compendium to come out before I start cracking it open again. But
are they ever going to make a Why the Last Man show? I know this is kind of a random thing, but like I was just thinking about.
It's in development hell. It has been for a long time.
But you want to talk about a topical show that it came out right freaking now. It's almost too late. If it came out 6 months ago, it would have been perfect. You could program that right next to Handmaid's Tale, possibly.
Yes,
and that would be good programming.
Yeah.
Jody asks us, he goes, Gary, John, Dennis, have you seen RoboJocks? Yes, I have, and it's freaking awesome.
What is it?
RoboJocks is a really bad late 80s movie that was done by the Chiodo brothers, if I remember correctly, for Full Moon Entertainment. And this is when they were doing stuff like Trancers, the Trancer series, Puppet Master series.
Remember Puppet Master? Did not see RoboJocks.
And RoboJocks was like this brand of really cheesy sci-fi movies, and it was giant robots. And that's how in the future nations would fight. If they had a conflict, they would have fighters with these giant robots, and whoever won, that's what would solve the conflict.
What year did these films come out?
I would say late 80s, like 88, 89.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere around there.
I was doing lots of dope back then. In a lot of movies.
And the guy who was on the TV show Alien Nation was the guy who starred in RoboJocks.
Mandy Patinkin or the other guy?
No, not Mandy Patinkin, the other guy who played the human.
Okay. Now I got to see that now. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was really cheesy, but really fun. Another one in that same vein was Arena, which was about aliens fighting in a gladiatorial kind of, like a ring, if you will, like a boxing ring, but in space. And they had a ray that would equalize their strength so they could be of equal mass or equal fighting styles. And a human never fought in these things because they would always get killed if that was the case, because they were never. But there's one human that, of course, fights in the arena.
Sure.
And
wins.
And wins, just like Will Smith.
So it's like Rocky in space.
Max Landis totally ripped that storyline off.
Yeah.
RoboJocks, 1989. Yeah, that's why I didn't see it.
Gundam. Yeah.
Yeah. So bad, but it was good.
There you go. All right. Do you want to get to, are we caught up in the comments, or do you want to get to
let's do the spoiler section
list
now.
Yeah, let's do the list.
So just for everybody,
spoilers.
There are going to be spoilers about random TV shows. So if you're really a spoiler phobe, maybe tune out. We're going to be talking about our favorite episodes and moments from TV for the last 4 years. We'll be touching on stuff like, I'm guessing, like Game of Thrones, Star Wars Rebels, maybe so if you're Walking Dead, maybe, I don't know. So if you're worried about those things, definitely tune out. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about some fun TV stuff.
Gary, start us off.
All right, I'll start us off. This was actually the easiest thing for me to do, as just picking 5 episodes that stood out to me that, like, after I was done watching them, I'm like, watch it again, or holy fuck. Honorable mention is The Door from Game of Thrones, because the ending of that was the most heart-wrenching, rip your freaking heart out, like, throwback within season 5 of like a good season 3, season 4 Game of Thrones. And that's because George R. R. Martin dropped him that story. Like, sorry, spoiler for the books, that happens in the books. So and that was the one thing he gave them from Winds of Winter, is like, this happens in the book. Now, how it gets there is not how it happens, but the result is. Sure. And so the episode itself all the way through is just pretty good, but that ending with the music and how they did it was, oh my God. And just go on YouTube and watch the reactions for that show, and you just see everybody in fucking tears. It's great. It was, so that's my honorable mention.
Wow.
Number 5, Daredevil season 1, episode 3, The Rabbit in a Snowstorm. And that's the episode, I believe, with I think it's the 3rd episode, right? With the fight in the hallway against the Russian mobsters at the end. So, yeah. That was fucking awesome. Oh my God, that fight. And I know it's ripped off from a couple other things. I don't care. It was so freaking well done. One of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen. I love, like, right down to him getting tired at the end, and like just throwing punches, and just it being a continuing shot, or at least the illusion of it. And it really, that's what, like, sunk my teeth into Daredevil. I was liking it, but then after I saw that, I was like, holy shit, what am I watching? Like, this Netflix stuff, this is no joke. This is rated R Daredevil, like what we've been dreaming for. And like every comic nerd was, just doing something very sexual at that point, probably. It was a great TV show for a great series. Number 3. Sorry, let me sip some coffee here. It translates into Master and Slave from Mr. Robot season 2. It's the 90s episode where the first 15 minutes is filmed in 4:3 aspect ratio, and you are in a 90s sitcom in Mr. Robot. And it turns out to be a defense mechanism for Elliot, because and I won't even spoil this, he's just somewhere he doesn't want to be.
Yep.
And it was mind-blowing and so well done, and it's dark as there's somebody trapped in the trunk the whole time. Christian Slater's playing the dad. When the mom punches Darlene in the face, it's so funny and terrible wrong. And the mom's like, go get me some cigarettes. No, punches her in the face. And everything about that episode was brilliant, well done. It was twisted as fuck, and everything I love about television. The 3rd favorite episode is the pilot for Westworld, the original. The original is, like I said before, just the best pilot I've ever seen of a television show. And we're going to get into major spoiler warning. So I wanted to talk to Dennis about this one because I caught this last night. Oh, it didn't. You know what? Never mind. Because it didn't. It technically happened in that episode. So we are saved. I'll ask you about it later because I've been dying to ask. I almost called you last night, but it was like midnight. So never mind. The original is great. I'll keep this fast. The 2 and 1 were hard, but for number 2, it's Home from the Expanse, and that is when Julie Mao is convinced by Detective Miller. He finally meets Julie Mao, the woman of his dreams that he loves, who he never met, and she is been basically mutated by the proto-molecule to steer an asteroid city and propel it, and they don't know how it's being propelled, and it's being propelled towards Earth. And he has to go on this asteroid pulling a bomb, and I'm not even setting it up well. And he's been looking for her the whole time. He's been obsessed with this girl, obsessed to the point where he falls in love. So he meets her for the first time in this state of semi-consciousness, and he brings her back. He brings back Julie Mao to her human state, just long enough to divert the asteroid that's being propelled by they don't know what into Venus instead of Earth. And the ending scene, the effects are so beautiful, the music is so beautiful, and it's just this quiet little scene between Miller and Julie, and he's basically, hey, you need to commit suicide. I'll go with you to save the human race. And she has to come to terms with she's been possessed by an alien. Her body is halfway eaten away, and he convinces her to do the right thing. And it was brilliant, brilliant television. Number 1, Hard Home, Game of Thrones. Hard Home was the best episode of anything I've ever seen ever, and that was when Jon Snow went to Hard Home to. And it's only the last half of the episode, but the directing, I forget the director's name. They didn't get him. For season for season 7. He directed all the best episodes of season 6 and season 5 and season 6. Spanish guy, I forgot his name. Hard Home is the shit. It is the best zombie action anything in Game of Thrones. We get our first real good glimpse of the Night King. The fighting was crazy. The zombies jumping off the cliff, like hundreds of them, and then just land on a pile, and then they pop back up. You see zombies fighting a fucking giant.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. Everything about that is like, so yeah, the Hard Home, my favorite TV episode ever. That's it.
Ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I love that episode so much. And even the first parts with Arya and stuff, the directing and editing is like so different because it's really fast paced and good. Like Game of Thrones, love it or hate it, the editing is just very basic. In this one, they went a little artistic on it and tried to get stylized, and it worked. And they didn't do it too much, but they did enough for it to work. We got a good Arya scene in it, but yeah, the Hard Homes, dude, good TV.
What's your number 4 again?
Number 4 was Master and Slave, Mr. Robot from season 2, the 90s episode. Wow. Sorry, I'm long-winded.
All right, John, go for
it. You go. I'll do my last.
Okay.
I'm looking up the episode names because I did moments. So
I didn't do episode names. I just did, what the episodes are basically. So my number 5 is from Rick and Morty. And so it's kind of a hard one to pick on this one because there's so many good moments in it and so many good episodes. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's basically the one where at the very end you see Rick try to commit suicide, but he's so drunk he kind of passes out and misses the death ray from taking him out. And it's really dark. It's just a really dark moment, but the whole episode leading up to that, he's just kind of telling people, he goes, that he's doing everything for their best interests and things like that, but you can tell he's kind of full of shit. And at the very end there, and he's happy with his existence and everything, but he really isn't. And it just, at the very end, the music that's playing and everything, and he's drunk and he pulls out this little guy that's kind of carbonized, brings him out, uncarbonizes him, uses it to test the machine first, and then he takes a big swig. He puts his, like his head like he's going to go underneath it, and then falls back and passes out as the ray goes off and misses him. And I'm just like, wow, that's really dark, but really good at the same time. And that's how deep this show could get. And then my number 4 is The Tick. It's Arthur's backstory episode.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. Again, kind of dark, where we have weaponized syphilis.
Yeah.
Taking out, the
Flag 5.
Flag 5.
Yep.
And then having that Flag 5's ship crash down on Arthur's father as he's trying to just put money in the meter.
Put money in the parking meter.
Yeah. While they're out having while they're waiting for the mom, while he's got him, getting some ice cream. And the terror going over. Just goes over and terrorizes him some more by just sitting in his face
and finishing his ice cream.
Yeah. And it's just, and you realize that this kid ended up on the cover of Time magazine because someone took the picture of the terror terrorizing this kid. And this is the second episode actually of The Tick. And the social workers at the police station are realizing that he's the kid from the cover.
Oh yeah, everybody does that. When they realize he's the kid from the cover, they go, "Oh."
Yeah, and it's really messed up when you realize just how messed up he really is.
Yep.
And it's like, wow. And I mean, it's just such a powerful scene in that episode that, it's really, really well done.
Good choice. And he has a great character arc through that whole series. Those 6 episodes. Yeah.
Number 3 is Star Wars Rebels, and it's Twilight of the Apprentice. This is when Ahsoka basically has a showdown with Vader.
Ooh, that was good.
It was really freaking good.
Yeah.
I mean, that had goosebumps. That just raised goosebumps on my end.
I teared
also,
up a little bit. It was it was amazing.
And she thinks she can bring him back, that she can bring Anakin back to the light, and of course she can't. She's not the one to do it. And then also Ezra is grappling with Maul with the holocron, and because they're both trying to find their own answers, back and forth, and each has a little bit of knowledge of the other's holocron, and it's just freaking amazing the way they did that. And we don't know if Ahsoka's dead or not at the end of that episode. So, I mean, just really well done storytelling for a kid's show, if you will.
It was definitely like because there are many where it diverts from the typical Rebels tone of kind of like sarcastic space pie. It gets kind of, deeper as this series goes on. And that was definitely in the middle of a bunch of episodes that were definitely like, more nuanced and more interesting.
Yeah. And as Ghostworld says, Ahsoka didn't know who Darth Vader was until he revealed himself as to who he was, as being Anakin, and then trying to reach out to him and failing, and then just saying, you know what, you're evil, I got to take you down.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing.
Ghostworld actually brings up a good point that the Clone Wars series and how close in the relationship you see in that series is what leads to that being as emotional as it is, right? So there's a lot of good groundwork laid in the Clone Wars leading up to that.
My number 2 is from Legion. It's Chapter 7 with Oliver Bird pulling, our main character out of his mind, if you will. And that whole, the deep sea suit, and just, again, the imagery and finding out what his power is. And I believe that's where we got the Bowie song too, right, Gary? It was in
it was Chapter 5.
Was it Chapter 5? Okay.
Well, it might have been another Boeing song, but Pretty Things was at the end of, because I just looked it up last night by Lisa Hannigan. Again, you're a good version of Pretty Things by Bowie. Definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, just that is the episode where we finally get to see him. David finds his power and he wakes up and he goes to rescue people and basically just take out an entire squad of people,
Yeah,
and you just realize how badass he actually is. And it's like, oh my god, this guy's actually like reality warping powerful. That's how powerful he is. And yeah, just amazing episode.
And remember how this show was pitched, and they're still sticking with it. This is a villain origin story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm seriously interested to see where the second season goes.
Oh, dude, they need to wrap the entire X-Men universe around this show. I'm not even kidding. Like, they need, if you want to start from somewhere, I mean, he can warp reality.
Yeah.
You start here. If Disney had a brain, but no, they'll do their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because Disney fucks up anything, right, Arturo?
And my number one is Ash versus Evil Dead, episode 1, El Jefe.
El Jefe.
Why? Because
it's great.
It was like a old blanket that you want to just wrap around you.
That's been to the cleaners, but
that's been to the cleaners. Yeah, exactly. It's clean. It's got a few stains on it here and there, but you know, they won't come out.
You know where everyone came from.
Exactly. But just everything that happens in
happy stains and sad stains.
The realization that 30 years later, Ash is still a fuck up.
Yep.
And he's the one that actually causes the latest, you know.
Yeah.
Remember? Because he's reading poetry, French
He tried
poetry.
to impress a girl. He was reading French poetry, getting his bag of weed, and he put the bag of weed in the Book of the Dead. He's like, "I'll read you something. You want to read this, baby?"
And,
oh shit!
Oh shit! Exactly what he remembers what it is. It's just one of those awesome moments, and it just made me go, "Okay, the boys are back. They know what they're doing." And yeah, it was
the music, space trucking. I had that song in my head for like a month after that.
The whole beginning of him going to the bar to go get laid in the bathroom. I mean,
what? And then she turns into a demon, then turns back, and he's all, "Well, let me finish up a little bit."
Yeah, exactly. It's just, oh my god, there's just so many things that are wrong, but funny. Sums up the entire series.
That show's funny. It's funny.
So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good list. My list is always going to be so different from your guys, but
that's why we're here. We're not an echo chamber. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't want people who agree with me. Actually, nobody ever does, so it's not very hard to find.
So I have 6 because you'll understand why when we get halfway through. My number 6 is AKA WWJD from Jessica Jones, which is the episode where Killraven has her and she's playing house, like she agreed to go, and it was that fucking like crazy mind rape. Like it was just such a crazy episode. So I just thought that as a complete episode and like as solidifying Tennant as that villain, it was just so good. And she realized at the end that he can't affect her like he can with everyone else, and that's where she realizes it and just bolts. But that episode itself was so creepy and good. So I thought that was my favorite of all the Marvel Netflix stuff, so I threw it on there.
That's an excellent choice.
Yeah. I have as number 5, I have Come to Jesus, American Gods, which is the finale. I thought the way they dealt with all the Jesuses was crazy.
That was awesome.
Seeing the showdown of the old and new gods was interesting in that episode. It was just a really well done finale, right? Like it encapsulated what was so good about the show, and we finally got like some payoff. Come to Jesus, American Gods. Do you have a different American Gods episode that you would have thrown on there, Gary? I don't know how those rank for most people. Tale of Mad Sweeney, or there were some other good ones, but the finale for me was where it really did its best work.
Yeah. The last 2 episodes, I probably would lean. It's because it's a quieter story, and it's actually the biggest flaw in Gaiman's books. His side stories kind of take over the main story a little bit and are more interesting. But the Tale of Mad Sweeney story, no, Come to Jesus is the best episode, because it builds up
Yes.
to that, and that's, and you know, right there, they don't even do a final battle, and which is funny. And now that really sucks because they left. They were supposed to do an episode after that. That was not a finale. They decided to use all the budget for that one, and now, I mean, thankfully Fuller wrote like 6 episodes. I don't know if it's even in production. I don't know when this show's coming. I mean,
It's
I
in
don't know either.
production, but from last I heard that they were getting ready to sign some new showrunners. I don't know if that's actually happened yet or not, though.
The Kristen Chenoweth Easter moment was so amazing, where she like wipes out all the feet. You know, she's like, "This is what I can do." You know, and yeah, I just
you want to see some old god shit? Yeah,
that was bad.
That was so rad.
My number 5, remember, I was doing top 5 TV moments, is Disney buying Fox. I'm an X-Men fan. I want to see the Marvel universe back together again. So the moment
at what
in which
price,
I
John?
found out, I mean,
price?
I don't see the prices being that big because it's only the network, and you know, it's basically a big licensing deal with some extra networks thrown in. Like Disney, I don't know. I just don't feel like losing Fox is a big deal. Fox is not producing stuff that I care about, and I feel like Disney can do it.
Yeah.
So as long as the sports and news are aside, like it's just like anyone licensing a bunch of content from somebody else.
A little caveat to that is, do you realize that Rupert Murdoch has now got a big ass seat on the board of Disney? Yeah, that's what comes with it. That's why Perlmutter. Why is Perlmutter at Disney? Why do people put up with this shit? It was part of the deal. When you buy something out, you take the current CEO, and he gets a seat at the table, and he can have it as long as he wants and give it to whoever the he wants. That seat is his. And so you're basically, yeah, like you said, it's a licensing deal. They do own it. Right. But they don't they don't have 100% control. And you know, Rupert Murdoch's going to be able to keep his media wing, give it to his kids, and then have a stay at Disney. Yeah. So that is interesting. That is interesting.
Sorry, Arturo says, wait until you have a Star Wars crossing with Predator and Alien, thanks to Disney.
Hey. Yeah, but it ruins everything. Oh my god, it would. Yeah, no, I could make so bad jokes. That
I know. I threw that. I actually
stopped myself
to set Gary off. So there you go. So my number 3 is from The Genius. It's the Garnet Heist. So the first episode, I'll explain this to you guys. The first episode, it's like a Survivor, a Big Brother style show, only that they do like these strategy games. And in the first episode, they have to be smart.
There's intelligence involved.
It's valuing intelligence over like good looks or charisma. And so they get to the end, and this one guy, they give him all the power. And by giving him all the power, he has a decision to make between saving his best friend in the game, his closest ally, or eliminating this other girl. And this other girl basically pays him off with like in-game currency. And so it does this big reveal. It rewinds through the game to show like how all the pieces came together. The episode ends. And then it's called the Garnet Heist. It rewinds again, and it shows that the money that they pay him off with, he actually like forgot he had dropped it, and they paid him off with his own money to eliminate his best ally. And it's just amazing reveal in television where you see like this guy make a horrible decision for the wrong reasons, and it totally, you know. So the Garnet Heist from The Genius premiere is just classic. I have So my number 2 is the season 1 finale from The Flash, Fast Enough. The scene I was thinking of is when he goes back in time and essentially stops himself from saving his mother, and he watches his mother get killed in front of him. And he could have stopped it, but he knows that these other things it's too dangerous because he had already gone back in time and stopped it. And like that moment of The Flash was like kind of crystallized the show as like a little bit better than the other ones we had seen on the network for me. So I just really love that finale. And then my number 1, I had to pick a Game of Thrones. I wanted to pick The Reigns of Castamere, but it was a year earlier. So it was 5 years ago or the end of that 5th year. So I didn't know if it counted or not. So basically I grouped together Mockingbird, The Mountain and the Viper, The Watchers on the Wall, and The Children. The last 4 episodes of season 4 were all so incredibly good. I felt like that's when the show really hit its stride. Everyone had some crazy cliffhangers. Like people did, like half the cast did not survive those 4 episodes. So that to me was the pinnacle of Game of Thrones. There have been probably some better, the Hold the Door episode. There have been some better, maybe smaller scale, subtler moments of storytelling. But as far as like the holy shit spectacle of Game of Thrones, that end of season 4 was to me like where I really loved it. So
I think when the series is said and done, though, you still got to look at like Baelor when spoiler warning. Ned, when you're basically your hero gets his head cut off,
at the end of season
before the first season's over, and you're like, people haven't read the books. They're like, what? Wait a minute, they just killed Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
Yeah,
where do we go from here? And that was crazy. And Darth Vader died of like of gangrene.
Yes,
it's like stupid. No, that was cool. No, that season 4 was the shit. It was
season 4. I think that's we were to do seasons of TV, season 4 of Game of Thrones. I think maybe all time for me.
And season 4 of Buffy.
Season 4 of Buffy's not. That's the
I thought I like Destiny.
No, Glory, season 5. Glory in season 5 is my favorite.
Glory, yeah. Who was in season 4? I thought that was the principal.
It's the Initiative. It's that government.
Oh, the Initiative. No, I got mixed up with I like the principal.
Oh, you like Faith, season 3.
Yes. Oh yeah. I know you don't like Faith. I love Faith. Yeah. 5x5, John. That's what I'm gonna start saying to you from now on.
That line shows up in so many other things now as like little nods to Joss Whedon.
Well, it was a line before.
Sure. But I think
where'd your camera go, John? Did you turn your camera off?
No, he's still there. He keeps popping out. I has the same thing happening too. So
that's weird.
Actually, 5x5 is used in Aliens, the sequel, when they're going down the dropship.
That's right. Right. And Joss Whedon wrote Alien 4
Resurrection. Yeah,
Resurrection.
I've seen Aliens way too many times, so I going down the dropship 5x5.
5x5. There's some book that used it, some kid's book.
It's actually some pilot lingo
crap. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mean to call it S.E. Hinton, Outsiders, whoever the Outsiders writer.
S.E. Hinton was.
I didn't mean to call it crap. I actually liked it.
Yeah, there we go. Ghost World says in the pipe 5x5. That's what it is.
5x5. All right.
That was good stuff, man.
It's lots of fun
to see what you guys connected to over the last 4 years and to kind of also look at how much has happened in entertainment since you guys picked up the microphone and started podcasting 4 years ago, and even since like I got involved 2 years ago. It's just crazy how much has happened, and I just want to say it too, just like a thank you to all the fans, especially those of you who are waking up at 7 a.m. to listen to us and watching us after midnight on the East Coast or whatever it is. It's just
we've got people cool that you guys in Europe right now that are up at 1 a.m. here that are still watching us.
Yeah. So anyway, so thank you guys so much. We wouldn't be anything without you. I mean, we'd probably be sitting here talking about stuff, but it's so much more fun to have you guys involved and see what your top fives are and stuff like that.
I know where some of you are, but hey, guys in the chat, guys and gals, whoever in the chat, identify where you are. Let us know. I know where some of you are, but not all.
Jody said, "Oh, we talking Buffy now? We're always talking Buffy." I think that maybe Buffy has creeped into every single one of the podcasts that Gary and I have done, at least.
Yeah,
and maybe also Dennis. I don't know, but yeah, it's like our touchstone, our bedrock, if you will.
Kay Sizzle has joined us and was talking about Preacher. And yes, we love us some Preacher too, but it never made it to our list because it's been hit and miss with a lot of things.
Second season had I love the first season. I love it. Man, that is good. A great adaptation of one of my all-time favorite comics. The second season, they had money trouble. I'm not even, I'm not even going to blame the writers on this one. I think they did the best they could with what they were given. They're like, screw it. We're going to put all of our budget into the first 2 episodes. And the first 2 episodes of season 2 are TV perfection. I mean, they're so goddamn good. And then it just stops. And it's like, whoa. And it wasn't even like, there's a way to do that. Like you make them like under siege or something, trapped in a room or something. No, they were just trapped within themselves. And I understand the storytelling.
They were stuck on the farm. They
were stuck on the farm. And then we were saying that. And hopefully season 3. I would rather see a shorter season 3, up the budget a little bit, or get creative with your practical effects. And you know what? If some of your special effects kind of look cheesy, it's Preacher. I almost expect it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I want more road trip, honestly. I would just rather have a road trip with a 3 and, have it that way rather than being stuck in one location.
That's
all the
why
time.
California used to be they don't shoot the best place to shoot stuff, because you can make California look like different
Anywhere.
parts of the world.
Kansas, Midwest. Yeah.
Texas, you can do that to a certain extent, but when you're in Georgia looks like Georgia.
Yes.
It looks like nothing else but Georgia. There's no deserts in Georgia. There's, California's got it all.
K Sizzle was asking American and Legion.
420 blazing it. Yo. All right.
American Gods or Legion? Which one would you watch?
Wait a minute. I got Loser Kid John's in near Amsterdam.
Yes.
That is badass. Okay. Well, say that question again.
K Sizzle was asking, it's up here. Hang on a second. Legion or American Gods?
Legion. American Gods. Why did I just say Legion?
Because you really
Legion.
mean to say Legion.
Said Legion.
Wow.
Ooh,
American
Legion
Gods.
or American Gods.
You're the tiebreaker, Gary. As usual.
Oh my God, that's hard because I actually enjoy. God, I'm gonna say Legion because the creator stayed and he will have a better second season. But otherwise, I think American Gods had a better first season, even though they're both really good. But Legion is gonna be a better show because they kept their creator, unless the creator went to American Gods. There you go. Because I think Matthew Doherty would be perfect for American Gods, and I think he can make it better. Like Brian Fuller, I think is a really good setting up guy, except for Star Trek Discovery. But I think he's got some really good ideas. But he's a diva. He's a freaking diva, and he quits everything. He quits. He's a problem wherever he is.
Yeah.
So, and that's a problem with creatives like Frank Darabont. The guy's like a writing genius. Harlan Ellison, one of the biggest a-holes on earth, to work for. He's one of the best friends in the world you can have if he's on your side, because like he'll go to hell with you. But so impossible to work with. So we got these great talented people who are missing out on a lot of their work because they just can't get along with people. They can't be, you got to compromise. Sometimes it sucks. And don't be a director or a TV writer if you don't want to compromise. Then write a solo comic book that you draw. That's why it's the best medium. You don't have to answer to anybody. Self-publish your. If you're going to be a pain in the ass, self-publish your comic book. But don't like go into TV. You're going to work with people, like it or not. It takes a lot of people to make a TV show, and anything else. So yeah, if you can't work with somebody, I don't know. Maybe go lock yourself in a room, write a script, and hand it to somebody, and then forget about it. Or you end up like Alan Moore.
Jody asks, can you make California look like Manhattan? Yes, Seinfeld did it for 7 years.
Yeah. Actually,
San Francisco and parts of downtown LA.
Downtown LA and San Francisco. The Rent, the movie version, was filmed here.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Yep. Because Rosario Dawson was walking her dog. Actually, she still lives here now in Dolores Park. And saw that once, and I love Rosario Dawson, by the way. She is still the geek queen to me.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But yeah.
Mike McKay says 3 to 6 a.m. finals caught a whole podcast live.
Nice.
Yeah, good job. Thank you.
Finals. Oh, I hope we didn't distract.
Yeah, because Loser Kid John's over in the Netherlands. So
yes, 420
K-Sizzle,
blazing. He said, "Attaboy,
yes.
Blaze some for me. I can."
Ghost World's in New Jersey. Archer,
that's where it is.
Arturo is. It says 12:15 a.m. for me in Mexico.
Wow, nice.
So we got people from all over the world.
That's awesome.
I wonder where our guy from Mogadishu's at. He was. He might be asleep. But
he's probably asleep. He comes in every other one. I think he's been joining us on Sunday.
Yeah, I think so.
What was it, 2 podcasts ago? He said things were getting hairy. I was kind of worried about him. But
yeah.
Came back the next podcast, so that was good.
Yeah. And K Sizzle actually is kind of funny. She's only watched Game of Thrones season 7. That's it. She figured it caught everything up for her on that. That was all she needed to watch.
That's amazing. That was post teleportation machine being invented on the show.
Yep.
And she also says she's been an extra in films in Atlanta. Some films include Mockingjay.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which I have seen all of those. I actually I like the first two.
Oh, I like them all.
Yeah.
I actually almost had one of them on my top 5 movies list.
I saw I really I enjoyed them way more than I thought I would. That's cool. What's up, Kay?
Hey, Ben Dover's here.
Ben. What's up?
Hey guys, just woke up and sadly missed you live, but I will watch you later today. Happy anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all good. Hey, Jody, you definitely have to go to San Diego. It's my hometown. I was born and raised there. And Comic-Con is, even though it's nowhere near what it used to be, it is still an event. If you are a nerd, you have to make your pilgrimage to Comic-Con. It is your mecca.
It's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, you can go and have just as much fun outside now. Plus, San Diego is a really groovy place. It's got great beaches. There's lots of fun places, lots of fun things to do. It used to be the most boring town in the world, but for a guy who doesn't surf. So, but now it's totally different now. It's got culture. It's really cool.
And if you want that big con experience, but like comic book oriented, C2E2 in Chicago is in the United States the kind of the best for that right now.
Yeah.
Jody says he's actually in Quezon City and it's 2:24 p.m.
Wow. Oh, good. Mid-afternoon.
Not bad. All right, there you go. Eastwood City to be precise.
Yes. And Ghost World does. He said I do the New York Comic Con.
Oh, I want to go to that one.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Freaking fun. Yeah, I want to go too.
Yeah, Dennis and I are probably going to head out there. We got a friend who lives in New York. Who will put us up whether he likes it or not, because I put up with his shit for a long time.
Little shoebox.
It's in Harry's shoebox. Yeah, the only guy to survive working for me and my wife at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that.
He's a tough dude. He's a tough dude.
And he did sober too. I was kind of surprised.
He did. Oh, who knows what he did when he went home. I had a booth at Comic-Con in Indiana, got my original artwork signed by King Ezekiel and Bobby Mao around, as well as Daredevil. Cool. What Comic-Con in Indiana?
There's
so many Comic-Cons now.
The very first Image Con. Remember when Image did their Comic-Con in Oakland? I got my Walking Dead bag signed by Steve Yen, who played Glenn. The guy who plays Daryl. Now I'm just blanking on his name.
Oh, he was. That's when we were there.
Yeah, when we were there, and also Carl, kid who played Carl, who's no longer going to be with
Norman
the show.
Reedus.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, dude, I walked up to him and I've got my John put him up, man. Our Boondock Saints tattoos. And this was like what Walking Dead was in season 1 or 2.
It's the season 1. Yeah.
So he could walk around without getting like mobbed. And I just walked up to him and showed him my tattoo. I'm like, dude. And I'm sure like a million people have done that to him. And I don't care. And no, he was totally nice and cool. And
no, he was awesome. Yeah, I was stuck in line like right in front of him there. And so we were talking for a little bit. And I'm like, so what's been the craziest thing that's happened to you since all this stuff started? And he goes, well, last night, he goes, I was in the bar. This girl walks up to me and she says, you know, you look like that guy from Boondock Saints. And he goes, well, I am that guy from Boondock Saints. So she looked at me, kind of stared at me, just, no, you're not. And turned and walked away. And everyone just started busting up laughing in line.
John showed me that movie. He's like, dude, you got to watch this movie. And yeah, then we got bestie tattoos because we're just like that. Yeah. What the hell? I love that movie. That's something we got to definitely DVD vault.
Yeah,
someday.
we should DVD vault that sometime.
Oh my god, I even love the damn sequel. I was so funny. Melissa and I went to the sequel, and she was the only woman in the theater. Filled. I mean, like it was filled, and she was the only female in the theater of like 100 people. She's like, I'm the only girl here. Oh man. So yeah, those are fun lists. We've got 4 years in. Dude, we hit 1,000 subscribers like a week ago. We're at 1,070 something now. My mind is kind of blown on this. I thought we were doing something fun, and again, it's like what Dennis said. It was just I wish I could have recorded some of the conversations we had in the comic store because they were brilliant. And we had I know every store says this, but I had like the smartest, best customers in the world. We were right next to San Francisco State, just in a really kind of almost the only real suburban part of San Francisco. So all walks of life. And it was so cool. Like I'd be in the store and I'd see like Melissa's dad talking to Bill Selby. And like, if those guys ever talk politics, they would be killing each other, but no, they were in there chatting about like superheroes and stuff. And that's what like the beauty of a comic shop. Right. And I miss that so much. And especially with the interaction of the chat. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's been a couple hours. Is like, this is the best. Like I like this even more than doing the TV recaps, which I really love doing. But I really look forward to Friday now. It's so much fun. And yeah, to get that many subscribers, I don't know, just the fact that it's kind of working. And I do put in some work. You know, I don't thank God for the live streaming, and because Dennis and John and I have had a lot of practice just talking to each other, that I don't have to edit this crap anymore, because that takes so much time. And I could, warts and all, it just goes on. And I love that people have gotten used to that and they're okay with that. Because I mean, like last podcast, that's how we started the year. John and I knocked my mic out at the end of the podcast. That was it. It's over.
Podcast is over. Gary's mic is dead.
I also have to thank my wife, Melissa, and my two kids, Indigo and Logan, for letting Dad do this. And it's a hardship. They have to stop online gaming when I podcast. So they have to actually, I don't know, talk to each other or draw pictures or whatever kids do these days that's not on a video game. So I got to thank my family.
Ignore each other.
Yeah. And me generally ignoring them, but they know love. And they're actually really cool. Kids are really cool, by the way. Highly recommend. So let's go to some comments here, guys. You're way better than reading them than me, Dennis.
All right. Let's see here. K Sizzle was saying I had a booth at we got the Comic-Con Indiana. Jody says I also want to experience the Grand Masquerade in New Orleans, right?
Hell yeah.
That would be badass.
I worry about going there. I'm a sober guy, so I don't know how much I'd enjoy it. Or basically be designated driver for my wife or designated walker. But that's still be fun. Oh, we enjoy Vegas, so I'd probably enjoy a lot of that.
Yeah. Jody says you guys have folks from all over watching you. Woohoo! Yes, Jody,
I know.
thank you.
So
it's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Loser Kid John says you are doing something fun. It's amazing to be connected with fellow nerds. Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, we can't say it enough. It's just it really is a lot of fun just talking for everyone around the world. So it's just like I said, we love doing this. K Sizzle says me and my friend are getting our coins together for Dragon Con Atlanta and San Diego Comic-Con. We were trying to do all the Comic-Cons nationwide. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I heard very good things about Dragon Con. Like a lot of good stuff gets announced down there, and it's not super expensive. It's probably what Comic-Con was like 20 years ago, when you could just walk up to creators and chit chat with them, but it's still big enough to be cool and take your time for a couple days. Yeah, those days are long gone. Dennis and I, and probably John, is going to make it to con this year. We'll be at San Diego Comic-Con. We will be broadcasting from Comic-Con and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So.
Ghost World says there's something special about some comic nerds just hanging out and talking shop. Yes, there is.
It's the path to world peace.
And arguing over if Luke is an asshole or not.
Those are important arguments that need to be settled someday.
It's the same thing, kind of who's stronger, the Hulk or Superman?
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. Well, everybody knows it's the Hulk. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say Superman. That's hilarious.
Well, it depends. We can get in the weeds on that one. Is it the one that gets stronger and bigger the more angry he gets? I mean, is that the version we have now? I don't know.
Yeah. I think if the Hulk kept its smarts, it would be, because you need some tactics to be strong as well. And I think
Peter David's Hulk could be Superman's ass.
Probably, yes.
Interesting. Then depends which Superman.
Yeah. True. Ghost World says, I just love the camaraderie here, geeking out with all of you.
Oh, we love it too.
Yeah, we love it too. For one, John and Dennis both, because I can get controversial sometimes. So they were really good at keeping me in line, going, let's not turn the channel into bitching about shit. And I agreed with them early on, but I was trying to figure out like where we were going with this. But definitely, if you are this negative channel that complains about things all the time, then that's what you are forever. And you can't switch once your topic is like, let's face it, there's a lot of channels out there that made a lot of money and got a lot of views off the whole quote unquote SJW Marvel thing. But now that it's pretty much over with CB Slabluski coming in and they're canceling a bunch of titles and they're righting the ship. So what's your channel going to be from now on? And that's a good question. And I wish them all the luck in the world, but I think a lot of them want to be just comic book reviewers. But I don't know if that's going to work. I just don't, because we definitely saw that with Star Trek Discovery. People like to hate watch, and I'm not saying we're even going to stop doing that, because
bad is bad, right? But we want to celebrate things, like we want to celebrate what we love.
Exactly.
But
that's
if it's
the
bad,
main
it's
purpose,
bad, we're going to call it out for being bad. So we always try to be as fair as possible. But fair is the wrong word because it's all taste, right? So. Yeah. But again, if it's something we both think is not good, we're not going to like gloss over it, but it's all a celebration of all of this stuff collectively that we love. So
yeah, I think it's kind of like that first episode of X-Files season 11 that we just watched, which is really bad. And I think we did a good enough job where we didn't trash it, but we didn't endorse it either.
Right. You're like, it's nice to have X-Files back. I wish it were better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will definitely be over the happy it's back thing. And with Star Trek, I like Star Trek more than I like Star Wars. Always have. Okay, it's always had like, if I had to take, I like them both, but if I had to pick, I think Star Trek's a deeper universe, a more realized universe, and I know people will think I'm crazy with that one, but like, I don't play video games, so I don't know about all that stuff. And the expanded universe, the few books I read, there was a Han Solo series, and I'm talking back in the early 80s. So there was Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and this is before Heir to the Empire. Okay, so there's Splinter of the Mind's Eye. There was 3 Han Solo books and 3 Lando Calrissian books. Those were the only things I read up until Heir to the Empire. And it was just a small little story. Now Disney's making it into this giant Marvel-sized thing, and they do have a ton of characters, but they're mostly from the video games and canon that they canceled, or not canon, but the extended universe in the books and stuff that they canceled. So they're going to bring them in on their own terms. It seems weird to me. Because what did Iger say? There's 17,000 characters in the Star Wars universe. What?
Are they talking about like random bar Alien 1?
They must be, because there's only 5,000 in Game of Thrones, and there's only 5,000 in the Marvel universe. So 20,000 characters. That's
crazy.
That seems a bit wacky to me.
It doesn't sound right.
Especially when people know about 20 characters. And if you're a hardcore gamer, there's some other ones. And I know there's some really good video games out there. I don't mean to disrespect or anything. I just don't play them.
Right.
I watched my kids play some of them, and they look totally badass, but I don't play video games. But yeah, I don't know. I just think Star Trek's a deeper universe. I think it's more realized. I think, they've had more series, and it's more subdued, and it's more scientific. And I like the fantasy side of Star Wars, but it seems like, I don't know. Hopefully Disney rights the ship and they find out what Star Wars is, because it's no longer what I watched in the 70s and early 80s, and they're not going to be able to recapture that ever again. So they might as well just like make a new identity at this point, which they can do, and it'd probably be kind of cool, but I don't know.
Yeah. Ghost World says, kids, if you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
Yes. But not illegally buying children. We are not endorsing that in any way. If you adopt, do it legally. Yes.
Jody says, and Ghost World, I love how we can have disagreements and not hit each other over the head trying to force each other to concede.
No, yeah, exactly. It's about being respectful of other people's opinions, and not thinking so much of mine. which I do. I totally keep in check. I'm in love with my fucking opinion, but no, dude. I love the Blade Runner 2049 thing. I mean, I'll admit that I must be just completely wrong on that one because so many people I like and respect like that movie, and yeah, I don't know.
But that's the thing, is it's all taste, right? It's
all perspective.
There are certain things that like for me, I would say the majority of stuff that I like, I recognize as not being as like well produced or, whatever good is as other things that I don't like, and so it's all about just what you want to spend your time or enjoyed spending your time watching or listening to or whatever, right? So yeah, I just think it's all taste.
It's all taste. Yeah.
Isaiah, oops, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
Isaiah Norton says, "Are you all reading Batman Metal? Keep hearing great things about it, and the fact that I heard that they just brought Dream of the Endless back makes me want to check it out even more." I've heard nothing,
and I will. Batman Metal.
No, Batman Metal is on my list. I've been, since I sold the comic shop, I've been shying away from a comic shop, and I'll pick up comic books basically on eBay. I can't do Comixology. I tried.
I love it.
I read Mr. Miracle. It's too buggy, and I'm purist when it comes to comics. I need paper. I need the smell. I need the tactile feeling of it. Mr. Miracle was awesome. I've spent a lot of time reading books from the last 40 years that I haven't. But Batman Metal's it looks amazing.
Is it Dark Knight's Metal or Batman Metal? Like, is it?
It's a crossover event that it was inspired Scott Snyder and Capullo and their love for, or at least Capullo's love for heavy metal, and they're just doing these crazy ass stories. I read Batman the Man Who Laughs. That was the craziest shit I've ever read. That was awesome. Mr. Miracle
Robbins,
awesome. Yeah, dude, it was nuts. And the Batman White Knight I'm loving too, but I like my boy Sean Murphy. I love his art so freaking much. He reminds me of oh my god, I'm blanking on the name because I'm getting old. Tank Girl artist. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
Gorillas.
yeah.
The Gorillas.
Rachel
Jamie Hewlett.
Jamie Hewlett. Yeah. Who's probably one of my all-time favorite artists.
I have to bug out. I'm going to say goodnight to my wife really quickly, but it's happy anniversary, guys. And it was so fun to join. I'll be here on Fridays. Now I've blocked off the day, and this podcast is really special. So, yeah, I'll see all of you guys out there, and Gary, Dennis, will be podcasting throughout the week. So I'll see you guys then.
All right. Good night, John.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Right. Okay. Did he hang up? Okay, good.
Yes, he did.
That was interesting.
Ghost World asks, wait, are Comic-Con New York and Comic-Con San Diego run by the same people? No, they are not.
They are not.
They're different people.
Comic-Con is a non-profit, believe it or not. I think that status has changed.
Yeah.
But it was considered a non-profit for many, many years, kind of like the NFL was a non-profit until recently. Yeah. But there's sick amounts of money that go through there. No, they are run. I don't know who runs New York, but New York is giving it a run for its money, for sure.
Yep.
I think they've just done everything right, and C2E2 in Chicago has really kind of pulled it together too. And I think it's great to have cons in the middle and on each coast. And I'm definitely into checking new ones out. Dennis and I have been taking up space at Comic-Con for many, many years, and maybe it's time to give our spot to somebody else and go check out some other stuff. I'm personally, on a personal level, I'm hopeful to get in as either press or retail next year, because I don't know how much I'm going to keep going as just a fan walking the floor. I've just done it so many times. You can't get into panels anymore. It's just impossible unless you want to wait 4 hours, which I don't. Yeah. So I liked it better when you had the exhibit, when you had the exhibiting pass, and you can kind of sneak in early, and there's ways around things. So hopefully I'm working that angle. If not, then, Emerald City's coming up in Seattle. That's a really good one. And we got San Francisco Comic-Con now. They finally brought a Comic-Con back to Moscone Center, which is our convention center. We had that, 6 months ago. It was brilliant. It was small and fun. So hopefully it gets a little bigger. But yeah, Yeah.
K Sizzle asks, wasn't the Gray Hulk the Smart Hulk? Yes and no. Different iterations.
Mr. Fix-It was a
Mhm.
different aspect of the personality. There was also the Bruce Banner Green Hulk, but he wasn't the strongest. The Hulk was actually stronger when he's savage because he, at least back in the early 70s, and even back in the original Kirby, like the more angry he got, the bigger he got. And I mean, go look at that one Steranko cover where the Hulk is, 15 feet tall or something like that. It's changed a lot. But the Hulk used to get bigger the more angrier he got. And they actually did that in the Ang Lee Hulk.
Thony says, I know I said this earlier, but if you haven't seen Utopia, do yourself a favor and check it out. Spoiler alert, crazy scientists involved and kids die on the show. Kids are murdered.
Okay, Utopia. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I've seen it on Netflix. I just haven't watched it as of yet.
Yeah, there's so much to watch now. I mean, like, God dang. What would there, how many, they said there's 22 major tentpole movies being released this year, like the most ever.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And the list is mostly awful. It's mostly like really, really bad. This year, I guess we're all looking forward to Deadpool 2, Infinity War, of course. Does anybody, I mean, I'll even ask Ghost World out there, what do you think of the Han Solo movie coming up? What's your, I mean, listen, it could be good. I have no way of knowing because they haven't put out a trailer. They haven't put out a poster. We got some sneaky art out today. And yeah, I don't know.
Jody, we aren't leaving as of yet. John just had to go, and
John had to go. I can go for like 15 more minutes. I
Yeah.
do have to work tomorrow.
yeah, I have to go and finish painting and hopefully get my carpets clean at the new place. So, excuse me. So I have to get some sleep as well. I'm scrolling through here. Ghost World, the Emerald City, the canceled Oz show. No, that's
Oh, Emerald City Comic Con. That's what I was talking about,
yeah.
which is in Seattle.
K Sizzle says one of my favorite pictures is of the Hulk ripping Wolverine in half. I love it. Yeah, that's from the
Love it.
Ultimate Wolverine, Ultimate Hulk.
Yeah.
That was a great series. Took freaking forever for that last issue to come out, but finally did.
Yeah, the Solo movie
3 years later
is just going to remind me of him being dead and being a bad dad. And then somebody pointed out, I forgot what podcast I was, or I think it was Beyond the Trailer. That woman with the kind of annoying voice, but I kind of like her for some reason. She pointed out that you had Ewan McGregor, who wanted to do a Ben Kenobi movie, which is something I would totally be interested in seeing. And they said, nope, let's do the one nobody's asking for without Harrison Ford. Yeah, that one I don't understand because I think that you can do a lot of really crazy fun stuff with the Kenobi movie. Make it like a Western, and he has to do some really effed up stuff to protect Luke that almost rips him out from that almost makes him not a Jedi. You know what I mean? Sacrificing his entire life to protect this kid.
Yeah. Ghost World says I didn't really care to see a Solo movie, an Obi-Wan movie. Hell yeah, Thrawn movie. Fuck yeah. He goes a Porg movie.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'd see a Porg movie as long as they're getting eaten.
A Porg. Oh, there's an animated Porg movie coming out, I'm sure. I mean, they did Ewok movies. They did 2 of them, right? Was it 2 or 1?
Don't remind me.
I remember watching one live on TV. And I started questioning myself at that point. But I think when it came out, it was like 86. I was 16 or 17. So I was like,
asks, how many actors can you name that has played in 2 comic book movies, TV shows as 2 different characters, i.e. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Green Lantern?
What? Chris Evans?
Yeah, Chris Evans was both Fantastic Four and Cap.
I keep forgetting his name now. I played Dr. Doom, who was in Nip Tuck.
Oh,
he's in Runaways now.
Yeah,
playing Jonah. Yeah, and There's way more. There's way more. Why am I blanking now? There was the guy who was in. Nope, that's not him either. Oh, no. Okay, wait. There's more. Can you think of any, Dennis?
I
Help me
can't
out
think
here,
of any
man.
off the top of my head.
Okay, there's
honestly.
Doctor Doom. There was the Doctor Doom guy, and
Julian McMahon is the Doctor
Yeah.
Doom character. Julian McMahon. Jody saved you on that one.
thank you.
Oh, actually, Michael Chiklis, because Michael Chiklis was both the Thing in Fantastic Four, and he was on Gotham as the Executioner.
That's a stretch. I know there's another. There's the guy from Thor: Dark World was gonna be in it. My God, I'm forgetting his name. Forget it. We'll move on from there.
Perlman wasn't in
Lawrence
TNA.
Fishburne is going to be in a Marvel movie coming up, I think, right? And he played Perry White.
Actually, the guy who played Mantis was in Mantis, and then also is now playing John Jones' father in Supergirl.
Yeah,
Morena Baccarin. He was
but like who's big? Who's like just played in both Marvel and DC in the films? Yeah, I don't know. I think that was it. I think Chris Evans. Well, just being in two different characters. Is that what the question was?
They said movies and TV shows. You know, either one.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it's probably because I'm tired. But I can't remember. I heard that Lawrence Fishburne is going to be in a Marvel movie. I can't remember which one though.
Ghost World says going from Fantastic Four to Captain America is like getting promoted, winning the lottery, getting laid, and beating your top score in your favorite video game all in one day.
Well, that's right. Lawrence Fishburne voiced the Silver Surfer too. I forgot that.
Yes, Jody. Carl Lumbly is the guy who played in Mantis and is also playing John Jones's father on Supergirl. Michael B. Jordan. That's right. Michael B. Jordan is
Human Torch
and Killmonger.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're running out of actors to play superheroes. That's for sure. That's how deep we are into this. God, it's going to be the 18th Marvel movie. Good Lord.
No,
I never thought it would. No, it's 18th. I think Thor was 17. MCU movie. And that's counting Spider-Man Homecoming. That's unbelievable. They're going to pass up the Bond franchise. They're going to pass up the Bond franchise in half the time, in the third of the time.
Yeah, because it's only 10 years.
It's gone way longer, kind of like this podcast, than I thought it would. Oh man!
You know what we need like a little we need like an Academy Award music playing to wrap it up when we start. You know,
I know. We should probably wrap it up. We should probably wrap it up now. Yeah.
Keaton, that's right. Michael Keaton was Batman and Vulture.
Yep. I think people are I'm starting to appreciate. Well, I've always appreciated Michael Keaton as Batman. I've always scratched. I remember when I first heard it, I'm like, what? Because was it Alec Baldwin was like my number one choice, and I used the whole Beetlejuice thing. Like he was in a Tim Burton movie. He totally looks like Batman, and at the time, I think he would have been a good choice. And
also, Michael Keaton was in that lame movie Birdman.
Yes,
as a superhero. James Jones from Spider-Man and Justice League is what Arturo says. Oh, that's right. J.K. Simmons now as well, because he was J. Jonah Jameson and Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, and Doug Jones, who played Silver Surfer and Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy.
Yep. Abe Sapien.
And Abe Sapien in Love, The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting movie. I saw that with my wife. And I think Guillermo del Toro was really, really clever in trying to get comic book fans to like an art house movie. I think that's how he pitched it. He's like, listen, we want to make an art movie. You want to make a movie that's gonna make some money and maybe win Academy Awards. Let's try to mix in a comic book character, quote, air quotes, And I don't know if it really worked. I don't think it made a ton of money, but it's basically Abe Sapien in love. And if I don't know why they didn't just call it that. If they didn't just called it that, it would have made a ton of money. And I think more people would, and it was definitely bizarre because, I don't want to spoil it. There's just some weird stuff that happens in this movie. I was totally okay with it, but I'll just say they go there. They go places where you didn't think they would go, which hats off to Guillermo del Toro and his attention to design, to detail. They were in 1966 in an nondescript town set firmly in the 60s. The sets were amazing. Everything down to the cars, the tires, the fittings on the faucets, everything looked like the 60s. Everybody's hair was like, the attention to detail to this was amazing. The monster effects were great. Doug Jones is one of the most unsung actors in Hollywood. That guy, like, when you can see somebody's emotions through their costume,
oh yeah,
they're a great actor. Like Andy Serkis is the same way with his motion capture. I don't think they get enough credit for being full actors. They can act. And Doug Jones doesn't get enough chances to just straight up act. He's really good. He did Abe Sapien's voice in the second movie, and you could barely tell the difference from the first movie. Like, they did not need to get David Hyde Pierce. So it was but it just, I don't know, if there's too much chase stuff going on, and again with Guillermo del Toro, I think he puts too many ideas into something and doesn't fulfill them fully. But I still highly recommend it. I highly recommend the movie. It's good. I would rent it or see a matinee. But yeah, especially if you're a Hellboy fan. I mean, yeah, it's Abe Sapien.
Michael Fassbender, by the way, has been in 3 comic book movies: 300, Jonah Hex,
yes,
and also as Magneto. He does the trifecta.
2 of the 3 of those movies were good. I watched Jonah Hex. I did. I love the character Jonah Hex.
I do too. I just didn't think what got on the screen there was Jonah Hex. That was some fat bloated dude in a really bad makeup. He was really fat. Yeah, that's when Josh Brolin was, kind of all puffy and stuff. And that's when Megan Fox was actually out acting everybody. It's like she deserved an Academy Award for that movie, the way she was acting. And he was like, wow, that was bad.
You know what I don't get is if you look at the Deadpool 2 poster, they make Josh Brolin look all tall.
I know.
He's super short. He's like really, really short.
Halle Berry. Halle Berry is Storm and Catwoman.
Oh yes, and she was in Kingsman 2, and she was Storm, and she's in Trifecta 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's all there is comic book movies, and that's why I think that doing the Shape of Water kind of thing, like that's how instead of doing the Jodie Foster thing, who just shit all over comic book movies.
Yeah. Take a look at James Gunn's retort to her. It's actually
I did. And it's basically what everybody was saying, though. It's like,
yeah.
And James Gunn is always polite. Okay, I mean the thing is, he's not super. I don't know. He can be catty, but Jodie Foster is 5'10". I stood next to him. If he's fucking 5'10", then I'm 6'5". I'm 6'1". I'm 6 foot. I'm 6.5 feet, and he's more like 5'7".
Nick Cage is Ghost Rider and Big Daddy. There's a lot of people.
That's right. He was Big Daddy. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Cruise is down as 5'7" too. And if you Google it, Tom Cruise says 5'7". Dude is 5'4". Again, another guy I've stood next to. He's shorter than my wife, who's 5'7".
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone, by the way, comes up to my chest.
Yeah, that is crazy. And he's listed as like 6 foot on. It's like
I walked right past him when he was doing Get Carter in Las Vegas because he was filming it there. And I walked right past the dude, and he came up to my shoulder.
And it's cool.
And I'm not that tall.
I just marvel because on the screen they're like huge, and Arnold's big. Arnold's a big dude. But
yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan in The Walking Dead and Watchmen.
Jeffrey Dean, why doesn't he not get more work? I freaking love that dude.
Because he takes breaks. That's the whole thing. He actually picks the things that he wants to work on.
And I know he's like getting typecast into that crazy Sacco guy, but I would love to see him be Batman. I would dig him as Batman.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell, and Black Widow.
Yep. And Ghost World.
Sylvester Stallone as Judge Dredd and in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I hate to say it.
What? Say it. I'll say it too.
No, it's and Judge Dredd, the Judge Dredd one. Michael Rosenbaum in both Smallville and also Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I don't hate Judge Dredd. Oh, I never got to my honorable my movie. I said I was going to start with my honorable mention. I can say it now when nobody's watching. It's the Hobbit trilogy. I love the fucking Hobbit trilogy. I know everybody fucking hated it. I love the shit out of it. I love the 48 frames per second that he tried. I thought that was really bold. Yeah, it did look silly and kind of weird, but I love that he tried to like move cinema past something, and the transfers are beautiful. And yeah, there's some shoddy CGI and they stretch the story out way too long and it ends really sad. It's super sad, the ending, but I love Lord of the Rings so goddamn much. I was very happy to see it, and I was actually happy how it turned out. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. Yes. No, not more than the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Hell no. It was like, but these is like part of my favorite from the last 4 years. It was just an honorable mention. The Hobbit trilogy. I was prepared to fully hate it, and I saw the first one with my son, and we both loved it, and went to the second one, loved the second one. I'm like, maybe it's just me. I can understand why people don't like it. I mean, for one, it wasn't Lord of the Rings. It's just a weird choice for so much later to do a prequel, even though that was the original. I just thought it was really well done. Yeah, it had its definite problems, but I was entertained. And I definitely like the extended versions. The theatrical versions, I can see why people didn't like those.
We also had Samuel Jackson in both, all the Marvel movies, and then also Kingsman. Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta and Thor.
That's right.
Will Smith in Suicide Squad and Men in Black.
Yeah. People don't. That's a Marvel property.
Yeah.
That is a Marvel property. Not sure if it is anymore, but because that came in under Malibu, right?
Yes.
When they bought Malibu. And they bought Malibu just for Men in Black. And they filed away those characters to never return.
You saying they put them in the black file?
They put them in the black file. The Men in Black put those things away. Yeah.
Do you think, most importantly, there will be a similarity?
That's what they're adapting for Amazon. They're going to do the bits after. I thought they were going to just straight up do from when they announced it, they said they're doing Lord of the Rings. So I just thought they were going to do Lord of the Rings and just do the whole damn book. Because believe it or not, as long as those movies there's a lot left out.
Holy crap. Actually, wow, K-Sizzle's right. Josh Brolin's been in 5 comic book movies. Actually, he's going to be 6. Jonah Hex, Men in Black 3, Sin City 2, Deadpool 2, and he's also going to be Thanos in Infinity War.
Thanos. Rosario Dawson was, she was in Sin City. Yeah, if you start bringing in Sin City, well, then you got, I'm blanking on his name, Marv, and then he was in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of people that have been in lots more than just one comic book movie. Tommy Lee Jones and Men in Black and Batman Forever.
So everything leading up to Lord of the Rings. So the entire Third Age. That'd be great. I can't wait. I'll watch the crap out of that show. I cannot wait. Especially if they're putting like $1 billion into it. Hell yeah.
K-Sizzle, instead of a Static Shock cartoon, I'd like to see a live action movie, tell you the truth. Because Duffy's work is awesome, tell you the truth. And needs to get out there.
Duffy.
Yeah.
Duffy?
I'm blanking on his first name. He's the creator of the series. Here we go. And I'm just credits.
Carla. Oh yeah, Carla and
Dwayne McDuffie. Dwayne McDuffie. There we go.
Dwayne McDuffie. Yeah. Carla. I can't pronounce her last name, but yeah, Sin City, Watchmen, Sucker Punch. I love her. I love her.
Carla Guggiano.
Yeah, she is beautiful. Dwayne McDuffie. Yeah.
Yep, Dwayne McDuffie. Yep.
Because Joe Duffy's a girl. Static Shock. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, the Zeta Project was also interesting, but it didn't have the resonance for me like Static Shock did. Static Shock was really good.
Speaking of animated superheroes, what do you think of that? The Spider-Verse trailer? Did you see that?
Yeah, that was actually really cool. Remember, I posted.
I thought it looked really, really good.
Yeah, because you know who's doing that? That's Lord and Miller. They're producing that.
We need to see way more of that, like animated side stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea.
Remember, we pitched that idea of doing Netflix, doing a little half hour. You do your origin on Netflix. And
now they can do it on Disney streaming. Disney streaming has no excuses, and DC streaming too.
Yeah. Yep.
Blank Man. What about Dark Man?
Dark Man was awesome.
I fucking love the first Dark Man. Oh my god. I saw that like 5 times in the theater. Liam Neeson, Sam Raimi.
Ghost World, there was a Batman Beyond Static Shock crossover. That was in the Justice League, if I remember correctly, animated series when they went to the future. So they had an older Static Shock. And also Batman Beyond. It was awesome.
I had to polish off my very strong coffee. My apologies. So I was watching Batman Brave and the Bold last night with a kid. Watched the Shadow. He just Logan like randomly comes in and goes, I want to see Shadow of the Bat. I'm like, what? The DC Direct animated series? No, the real one. Well, the comic? He's on, no, the Brave and the Bold. Oh, okay. Because that was the first time he saw it. So that's the real one to him.
Okay.
So we kicked back and watched a couple Brave and the Bold episodes. God, that was so good. I mean, I liked it when it came out, but I'm like, the style on that animation and the music, and
it's awesome.
God, it's a good show. It's a damn good show. I miss good Batman. And that's I don't know, a Batman with a little bit of a sense of fun. I know it's like it makes people think of like the 60s Batman, but I think it can be done.
Hey, Ghost World, by the way, my memory's a little bit faulty, so I don't remember if it was if it was the Justice League animated series, which is on Netflix, by the way, or if it was actually in the Batman Beyond comic where they had the crossover. I used to read both, and yeah.
Was it Static Shock and who else?
Static Shock and Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. Thank you, Google. Future Shock, it looks to me like a Batman Beyond cartoon. There he is.
Yeah, so it was a Batman Beyond cartoon. All right. Yeah, I've watched way too much of that stuff, so everything kind of blends together. Uh-oh. Apple Crow's here and incoming.
Oh, shit. You're coming in right at the end, bud.
Arturo, Static Shock is not tied with Marvel. It's a DC property. Jody, Liam Neeson as Darkman and Ra's al Ghul. Yes. Perfect.
Yep. There you go, man. Guys all over it.
Yeah. Dieter, who did the voice for Batman on Brave and the Bold, I actually ran into him on the floor at Comic-Con. I was right behind him and I had to tap him on the shoulder. I was like, dude, love your Batman. I think you did. And it was just after the show had ended. And I said, I thought it was really cool. Love all the iterations of Batman, but yours is actually really well done. He said, thank you, man. I had a really good time doing it. So really nice guy.
Then you looked at him. If I had $1 million, two chicks
girls
at the same time. I just can't get over that's the guy doing the Batman voice in that, but he's great.
Yeah.
No, his voice work is so good on that. I can't wait for Young Justice to come out. That's too long.
Yes.
But God, 2012 was when season 2 came out. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long? Did they have some of it done and they just needed to finish it, or was there rights issues? DC Entertainment didn't exist.
It's everything.
Yeah,
it's everything.
It's just everything.
Apple Crow says, started in on American Gods. Watch out for love rants on your reviews. Love/rants on your reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Take twice as long to watch since I have to catch up on your reviews.
Well, watch out for our second one. I think it was a second or third one where we didn't like the show and we kind of trashed it. We got a bunch of shit. But we did that with Legion too.
Yeah, Legion, we were pretty harsh in the second. We were like, where the hell is this going? We don't like it.
I just didn't get it. Yeah. I straight up didn't get it. And then like as the time went on, I ended up I almost want to re-record that recap. I want to redo Westworld. I mean, some of them towards the end were really good with theories, but our first couple were rough. And we missed a couple of big things. All right, I'm going to bring it up now. What the hell? So if you guys are worried about Westworld spoilers, I'm going to spoil something from the second episode. I'm not going to tell you because I don't know what it means, but I'm going to point it out to Dennis to see if he noticed it. So when William picks his white hat in the second episode.
Yeah.
Remember that episode starts out with William like sleeping in the train and it looks like he's in a coffin. Am I the only one who caught that? In the reflection, he looks like a dead person in a coffin.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after he picks the white hat, he's waiting and talking to the host and they're picking out guns and stuff. And he picks the white hat. He walks down this really long hallway. Like he turns the corner and he walks down the hallway. Then the host walks in and goes, pick your hat. He picks his hat. He walks through a door, and it wasn't a door like onto a train. Like it wouldn't be a door open and then you see him step into a train. Like there's a space between the train and the wall and the track and everything. It was a door into a room. He walks into a room.
Yeah.
And then Logan comes in. When Logan comes in and closes the same door he came in through, it's coming through the back of the car of what is the train car. You see Logan come through that door, and when he closes the door, you see an elevator go like that. Okay, remember, there's no space between a track and another wall. They could not have walked on a train. Okay. And then he asks Logan, he's all, so how do you get to Westworld? And then all the windows light up and they come out of a train tunnel and all of a sudden they're on a train.
Yeah, I remember that was kind of weird that they
and yeah, the whole building's missing. I can see if they came in like from another end or it was either, and it couldn't have been bad editing. I think that's a huge hint to like where the hell they are.
Well, what I thought they did was they'd entered into a box kind of in the box that lowered into the train.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when everything like the setting was done.
But there was no space for even an elevator for like another space in the wall for the elevator to fall out. He walks through a door that's got a single wall. Man, I rewound that this like 3 times just to make sure I know what I'm talking about here. And I wanted to email you last night. I'm like, oh, I caught something new on the 6th viewing. I went and checked all the theory videos. Nobody seems to have caught it. And it could be nothing. But they made a really big point. I've read all the interviews with Nolan and stuff. Like, they didn't miss a detail on this effing show.
Oh, no, they didn't. They put a lot of crap in there. I know.
They took an extra year to film it.
Yeah. To
make sure they got everything right. So, I don't know. I just want to put it out there. Something to think about. It's like to where Westworld is. That's part of the mystery, guys.
Loser Kid John says, so Westworld equals heaven?
Or hell.
Yeah, it could be either one.
Yeah.
And Apple Crow says, can you tell me how to get to Westworld Street?
Well, kill yourself, maybe?
No.
Don't do that, by the way. That's not even funny. No, but I think that's there's definitely something in like the credits tells, I think, the entire story of the show. And the credits end with an I. So it's either got something to do with the soul or the whole thing's in your head, or I know I don't think it's an island, because there's a scene where the Swedish lady was talking to Ford and she said, "Are we disturbing the neighbors?" But that could have been a joke. You know what I mean? Like, there's disturbing the neighbors. Neighbors, there's no neighbors. We're on an island, you know. But the temperature is always the same.
K Sizzle says, look at it in reverse. When the hooker was getting on the train in the last episode, how did she get on the train? She just walked down to the tracks and boarded the train.
But she boarded like the passenger train. There's two trains they're in.
Yeah.
There's the one they entered Westworld in, but then there's the one there's the one they entered the actual park, and one they entered Westworld.
Yeah.
And the other one's like an underground. The other train was like an 1800s that they made it look like a little bar. And then you find out it was like a bar car.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a box that got lowered into something.
Yeah.
But where the park is, I still have no idea. I thought I figured it out, and then I saw another video that poo-pooed everything I thought. So I still don't know. I was convinced it was in an underwater dome for a second. And then I'm like, nah, how would they do the sun thing?
Yeah.
And we don't know how far in the future is. There was a mistake on the website that said 2052, but then they scrubbed it and said that forget that. That was a pre-production thing that does not count. So forget it. All I know is I can't wait. I cannot wait. It
Jody,
better not be set in the afterlife. Oh.
No. He was talking about The Good Place, which is a TV show with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, which is actually really funny. I need to catch up on that a little bit too, because I'm a little bit behind on that one. It's on NBC. Loser Kid John, The Good Place.
Yeah, we don't usually we don't cover network TV stuff here unless it's like The Gifted or superheroes or wizards or some shit. But yeah, so we better wrap this one up, man.
Yes, let's wrap it up because I gotta go to bed myself. It's 11:15 our time PM.
Oh my God, so many people to thank. I'll just Isaiah, Loser Kid, Jody, Kay, Apple Crow. I'm gonna just roll up. I'm gonna miss some people. I apologize. Arturo, the Ghost World, of course. There's Kay. There's Thony H. I'm scrolling up here. God, you guys have hung on since the beginning. So I'm going to miss some people. So thank you, everybody, for subscribing and watching us for 3 hours here. Almost 3 hours. Is it 3, 4? I lost count.
It's been 4. Yeah.
I think it's been 4 hours. And I will thank you for John. All of our videos and podcasts can be found at nerdrotic.com. If you haven't subscribed to the Nerdrotic channel, please do and hit the bell. All of our links will be in the description. Dennis has a Twitter. It's at DeForce, DAFORCE. Mine is at Nerdrotics. Please follow us on Twitter. John's is at Jon Reed 16. And Melissa's is at Agent Bossy Boots. Our next show is Sunday. We're back with Star Trek Discovery at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Between now and then, Dennis and I might sneak in another live stream. We're going to see if we have time, and I know Dennis is moving, but hopefully we can sneak another one in, because I kind of like doing the weekend one a little earlier for our European friends and people who are up in the middle of the night. So, give you guys a chance to be coherent and hang out with us during the day. After that, it's Star Trek Discovery on Sunday. Then Monday, it's The Runaways. It's like The Gifted is skipping another week to do a 2-hour finale. That's weird.
Yep.
Wednesday, Happy returns and the X-Files, and followed next Friday by another Friday night show. It's been 4 years, Dennis. It has kind of rad.
Doesn't feel like 4 years either. It feels like 18. No, I'm kidding.
I know. So I promised to do this today, and I didn't get a chance. So I'll do it sometime over the weekend. I'm going to repost our first podcast. You can find it if you dig really deep on this channel or the website. It's our first video posted on the YouTube channel is demonetized for a copyright strike because I put like the full song, our full theme song on it or something like that. Definitely check it out and don't judge us, please. It was, I don't know. I listened to it. It's pretty funny. And I'm also going to put a couple little tidbits, best of. I found my Amazing Spider-Man 2 where I lost my mind. And
that's a great one. That's freaking awesome.
Dennis's review of Captain America Winter Soldier, which I think is very funny. So
was that a good one or a bad one for me? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait and find out. It's a good one for you. It's funny. It's definitely funny. It's vintage Dennis. We'll just say that. I tried to pick an idiot Gary one and a vintage Dennis one. So
I didn't go too far off the rails on that one, though.
No,
I liked it.
Man.
I remember I liked it. So.
You're in character.
Okay.
Hey, stay you, man. Stay you. You know, that's cool. I dig that.
I got worried about what I said on that one. I
know. You know what? I'll roll it out before I put it on. I don't want to embarrass you. So yeah. 4 years. I cannot believe it. I can't think of a better way to spend it than with y'all in the chat and everybody there. And if you're not watching this live, you're watching this as a video, please join us for these live podcasts. They are a lot of fun. We do it at 8 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. And now that we have Star Trek Discovery, it may be Saturday we'll do our second one. We usually do it Saturday or Sunday. Sometime mid-afternoon. We got to see what our schedules look like, though.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be a little bad for me on that one. So.
Yeah, it might be bad for me too. So maybe we can do one before Star Trek.
Yeah, I think if we do it earlier on Sunday, we could do one.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on nerdrotic.com. There's a schedule there, and I'll put the time up. Also, I'll post it up about an hour. You should get a notification that it's coming up if you want to join us. So yeah, happy anniversary, Dennis.
Happy anniversary, Thony. 4 years of doing this podcast. That's what we've been doing. That's what this was, our 4-year anniversary. Yeah. So, and thank you all for following us and chatting with us and listening to our crazy theories and just our crazy viewpoints too, and our ranting, especially Gary's ranting.
Sorry.
And John's ranting too. Yes, there are 4 years, Apple Crow, of our stuff that are out there. Yes, we've got 320.
This is our 320th total broadcast.
Yes. So yeah, if you go on
iTunes,
SoundCloud, and iTunes, you can hear all of us because we did a whole bunch of audio stuff too before all of this too. And that's where we started before we started doing the video. For the video, we're up to 120, right?
Okay, so our regular podcast, I number it to 120 because that's just the kind of podcast we're doing now. We're talking about everything. I didn't count recaps or anything like that. Yeah, total shows is 320. Total videos that are on YouTube are, I think, at 230 right now. So there's a good 100, maybe 80 shows that are only pretty much on iTunes or our website. So if you go to nerdrotic.com and just keep scrolling down, it's like, I can't think of a better way to do it right now. You know what? I'll throw a search function in there. And if you just put Nerdrotic episode 1, it'll pop up. But I am going to share the first episode on our Facebook and I am going to repost it. But our first episode's also on this channel. So if you go all the way down, if you hit videos and scroll all the way down, our first video is our first podcast. So
hey, I'm sorry, Apple Crow. I did not get the Picard reference. Yes, I know he said there are 4 years. It's supposed to be there are 4 lights.
Oh yeah. I missed that too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm not drunk. So
I'm a little disappointed that you're not.
Thank you for the kind words. He says, Dennis, none of us would be here if we didn't think you rocked. Thank you very much. And I'm glad I hooked you on Jean-Claude Van Johnson because it is a damn good show. So, and yeah, definitely, guys, check out some of the stuff like we do. Every now and then we'll check out some weird episodes. Like we're going to check out The Alienist on the 22nd on TNT to give it a shot. and see if we're going to cover it or not. And we're going to cover the first episode, but we're going to see if we stick with it.
Yeah, that's the 22nd, right? You mentioned that.
Yep.
It looks really cool. I saw the trailer again before I saw Darkest Hour, and it was really well done trailer, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just reading the comics. All right, guys, we really gotta go now. Thank you so much, and we'll see you maybe Sunday. Sunday sound good?
Yeah. Well, Sunday you'll be there for STD at least. So.
Oh yeah, you will, and I'm gonna be loving every bit of it. You never know. I mean, it's kind of like an STD. You just get used to it, because it's not going anywhere.
It's just gonna flare right back up again.
It's like luggage. Sorry. That was it a Robin Williams?
Yeah, that was Robin Williams.
That was Robin Williams. Yeah, herpes are like luggage. Yeah, I can't get rid of it. Yeah. There you go. Peace out, gentlemen. Yes, The Alienist on Monday, the 22nd. It's kind of perfect. It starts up when Gifted and Runaways ends next week, Gifted ends the following week, and then we got The Alienist. So we'll be done with the YA for a little while. Back to the adult stuff. Exactly. Are we doing anything Saturday? Dennis has to move. I'm open to it, but maybe that's a good day to post up the first podcast.
Tomorrow or Saturday, in about an hour here or 45 minutes, I am actually going to be doing painting and rug cleaning of the new place. And then the next Saturday, I will have already been moved, but I'll be getting my internet hooked up at my new place Saturday morning. So I should be good to go in the new place to roll next Saturday.
And I have to be at work in about 6.5 hours. So I got to go. All right.
So don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America and the rest of the world.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.